Yeah.
You may do your intro. Session 4. Let's see if the curse holds.
So seems like Discord's working this time around, right? Did you start recording or?
That's a wonderful intro. In the best traditions of my channel.
Okay. So going back, I believe what happened was you were coming back by the cart, blah blah, and you did Aspects 3, right, on the Rusty Sword,
Yep, and
and
I
you
got,
got 2 successes.
indeed.
Okay.
The Rusty Sword, for those of you that did not watch the session that was not, is a item that Demi forgot to mention among the possessions of the Pincushion McGee that came to fuck with us.
Indeed. But to go on that, I believe this is how I gave the description at least starting out. So, as you're riding on your cart and the donkey keeps going slowly forward, you hear some whimpers by, Lambert at times, and you just slightly ignore that as you put the rusty sword on sort of your lap as you're going, and you take a moment to focus, sort of swirling your hand around, sort of trying to gather the essence of the rusty sword. And as you close your eyes and start to feel around the small bits of aura, as you sort of lift it up into your hand, like lift it up almost, like drag it, sort of concentrating on it, you get images in your head. You're starting to become you're starting to not feel around yourself as you're sort of being embellished into this very hazy, very dreamlike state. And all you can feel in it is as you can see the sword, you can feel it as almost if you were holding it. And you can feel it go fast and then slow, almost as if something slowed it down, and then fast again, with something suddenly coming out almost, and you're feeling tints of wet on your face and around
Demi,
you.
are you describing intercourse or slicing a bitch? I can't tell.
That's for you to diagnose. Um, and you feel that premonition happen multiple times from different angles. Sometimes it feels as if it was a push. Sometimes it feels as if it was like a knife cut. But that's the essence that you're able to get out of that.
So it's a sword that's been used to stab bitches. Okay.
Though I believe what I did say last session, if I'm not mistaken, is that the sort of additional information, because you were focusing and stuff, you do sort of at one point have to sort of trying to look for what you want, sort of reemerge. You have to sort of disconnect yourself from the aura and push your own self somehow out, almost as if you're lucid dreaming somehow, and you're able to push yourself out a bit to get just the smallest of glances as you see, what would be a face, but it's extremely hazy and like foggy almost, that you don't really notify or get any features. But there is one thing that even in its haze you know instinctually, and that is a helmet that, yeah, looks like what Yashi posted. It's just a hat and has, it going down, and this is a pretty decently familiar helmet towards you,
Okay.
to you at least.
Okay. One more thing before we arrive. I want to ask the Ring of Winds.
All right.
If the wind spirits know where the Gangrel Myolos, or however you pronounce that,
Yeah,
the
Malus.
rosette currently is.
Okay. So you focus on the ring a bit, sort of focusing on it, whooshing it around a bit, and you start getting these little coming past you. Lambert sort of, you can notice behind you, Lambert sort of picks up this like, oh, fucking breeze. But you hear it differently. You don't hear it just as wind. It comes next to your ear and whispers into you, almost as if an entire sentence was contained into it. And some various messages come through. Some are snarky, something that you're used to. The wind just making fun of you. Some of them more concerned about what happened in the back. It's really smelling. But you do get some that are veterans, that those well-seasoned, traveled winds. Who yes, yes, and you hear these notions like, I believe he was over yonder, and sort of going from the direction and where all these spirits are telling you, you can garner that Melios is directed at the city, but as it's presented, seems to be quite a distance away.
Okay, so the answer I didn't want and that would have changed what I do would be right behind you, Demi. That was the one I really didn't want. This is about a third, halfway through the night.
This happened actually pretty early still, because by the time you arrived, I'd say about maybe 11, 12 midnight essentially, because Volo was able to get you almost as if you were trying to go into for another night of exploration essentially.
So as far as my knowledge would be concerned, I would know that Lord de Fagnon would be somewhere in the castle most likely at this time.
That seemed to have been Francis's schedule so far, yeah.
Okay, and I assume the castle has servants I can waylay, being a kindred of this domain.
Yeah, it's you've been here for a few years, and obviously this having its fair share. You interested is obviously with the whole art and politics. You do know there have been incidents, and what sort of measures go through. Essentially, while you get to the castle, be quiet. When you get there, ask the person that is actually in on it.
Okay,
Simple procedure.
so yeah, I would like to send a servant to find Lord de Fagnon and ask him to please come down to the wherever I have the cart, probably at the gate, if he is currently not too busy.
All right. The servant quickly bows down, quickly ushers over, and going over there. Francis, you're in the essentially going into. Ooh, now this is a tricky
Yeah.
thing because I have to push back to Francis. Okay, son of a bitch.
I mean, if he would be busy with his queen, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I would probably go to the one who understands the court, in my perception, the best. So.
Don't worry about it. We'll then come back to you, essentially, since this is later in the night about it. We're going to go with Francis, essentially, in this case, and then we'll bring back to that. So, Francis, another night comes up. It's coming about 9:30, usual, sort of daytimes, and, well, you remember that you were slightly nudged by Helen to come just a little bit earlier.
During her bathing time.
What would you like to do, Francis?
I will, of course, follow the orders of my queen.
Of course. So, you arrive a bit earlier. And as you finally arrive at the castle, passing the bridge very slowly once again, you arrive and there seems to be somebody almost expectantly looking. And question, you don't necessarily hide yourself, right? Robe or things, or how? What's your appearance usually like on a day, night to night basis?
Perfect.
All right, so you let your luscious locks flow in the wind, and yeah, it doesn't take hard because there is at least in these areas in the main street lights here and there, and obviously as you come to the castle, there are some lights from like torches from the like on the walls and like near the ends of the gates to provide some form of lighting and almost sort of this so you can recognize it seems to be a maid of some sorts, like a very servant, very plain dressing, very not necessarily dirtier things, but nothing spectacular in the slightest. Looking, and when she notices you, she sort of bows, comes trying to step forward as fast as possible, but presenting herself in a nice way, and bows again and fuck you outside. Um, bows and it's like Lord France, Lord Stefanion,
Yes, I say.
uh, Her Majesty Helene Lejust is waiting for you.
Just a platter on the table tells you, lie down here, boy.
I say like, yeah, very well.
Please follow me.
I
And
will.
as the servant maid sort of guides you through the castle, you're not going to the usual spot. In fact, she sort of leads you a little bit astray. It's not terribly far away, but eventually, you arrive to this pretty large door, essentially. What the fuck? To this pretty sizable door, right? And it seems to be much more englamored. It isn't just plain wood or even just plain expensive wood. There seems to be small decorations here and there, a little bit of lining, just to make it feel spectacular in a sense. And the servant there essentially to forgot to note there are also about two guards essentially standing out front of the door, standing there as the servant approaches. um, and she just so Francis has arrived. Please open the door for him.
Then may I have a question about the door?
Go
When
for
he
it.
looks at it, does he hear chanting in High Gothic?
the the guards sort of just nod. They knock essentially, and about 2-3 seconds pass, and you hear a voice risen up, but still able to maintain its normal voice properly. And one of the other guard opens the door and gestures for you to enter.
I will enter.
As you enter, essentially, this is a grand room. It seems to be a culmination of things. The first thing that gets you is essentially there's a office, almost like an office space. There seems to be a nice desk with sort of a almost one of those really like sofas essentially behind it, like going like a little bit curved, essentially making it a little bit pizzazz, with a nice little array of books in the back. Nothing fairly cluttered, and even a harp right at the side. But as you sort of take in really quickly, being perceptive, this is not just an office space. It seems to also at the left side even present a extremely large, fucking not even a king size, fucking like double king sized bed essentially. That has like goes pretty high up and has about some silky garments essentially like covering it as curtains essentially, and there's nice little lighting with candles, statues being placed around. It is heavily decorated and ornate, but it seems that this is a sort of a multifunctional room, if you want to say it like that. But this does seem to potentially be a more of a personal chambers. And as you come in, you see Helen sort of just sitting there on the big sofa, and just says, "Sir Francis, it's good that you've come early. Please come in."
Very well, my queen, I say, and I bow before I come in.
As you step forward about 2, 3 steps, the door starts to shut behind you, pretty gently actually. And as you approach, and says, "Please sit down."
And that is the last time anyone ever saw him.
Oof. I'll take a seat.
Mhm. Yeah, and they seem to be much more like armchairs almost, and it's sort of a very medievalist like fashion, made out of good wood, but added a little bit of cushioning here and there. Seems to even be where you're supposed to put the arm. It seems to like be pillow, like as you rest your arms in there, and you can feel almost like feathers in them essentially, and it's quite relaxing. Even one, if you're not used to it, one could even say that it's a bit too comforting, but nonetheless.
A
Helen
mage
looks at
friend of hers made these chairs. They're made of this thing called molded plastic nyaxi.
and as Helen sort of waits for a second for you to sit down, she sort of looks into your eyes for a good 5 seconds before saying, "How do you do, Sir Francis?"
I'm
She
quite well
wants.
this evening, my
She
queen.
wants the D. She wants the D nyaxi.
That is good to hear. Do you know why you're here?
On your request, my queen.
Of course.
Just
But do you know
grab her
why?
and kiss her. This is the time to take control. It's the only way you'll ever not be a simp in this relationship. Do it!
Indeed, Sir Francis, but do you know why I put out that request?
Well, I'm quite above and beyond what the clan has to offer, even for this civilized city.
She sort of puts her hand up and just chuckles a little bit, and it's like, "It's good to have confidence, Francis, but not so well to have an ego."
Goodbye.
GG Nuri.
You see, last night there seemed to have been a problem that arose, yes, with Lady Margaret.
Abort,
Now,
abort. She's angry.
hmm, could you please explain what happened?
He really is fighting for
Dance,
his life.
Andrea. Dance some more.
Hmm.
And, well, she still has a lot to learn, and it seems to weigh her down. She has quite a temper.
Hmm. To be expected. We are all kindred. I believe we all have a temper of some sorts. I do believe hearing from a little from the others that was she on the verge of frenzying, releasing her beast on all in that room, or simply anger?
I believe she was struggling to maintain her self control, my queen.
Hmm. I must ask you, why? Why was Lady Margaret struggling oh so much to the point where she was, hmm, well, really struggling?
Oh, she was quite beneath my skill level, and perhaps that was a bother to her. And despite my best attempts to mentor her and help her,
I hope you have a good subterfuge
and help her
roll.
achieve a better performance, she just couldn't take it, I suppose.
She sort of looks at you, sort of just, give it that, Redimir, goddamn, we're not putting the sort of null in this game! She just looks at you for about a good 10 seconds this time, quite longer, and says, "You see, Lady Margaret told me that she was truly riled up, that she tried her very best, and that you even used presents in front of her. So I have to ask, is that really what happened?"
Queen, would I ever have to use presents to outdo Margaret? You've seen our performances yourself, after all. I'm sure you can judge.
I don't doubt your skill, Francis. I don't believe anybody doubted your skills. But what I'm starting to doubt is your way with that skill. I believe we've exchanged a few sentences, but more than once has it been repeated that with that over-bolstering confidence, it is a good thing to find in a man such as yourself such confidence. But arrogance can be, well, Jesus fuck. Something just shot outside. But arrogance can be somebody's demise as well. At this point, by the way, just to see how it can go, you can roll me a manipulation subterfuge roll. No, the Balkans are not at work yet. They're just stuff.
They're just firing rubber bullets at the COVID protesters
Yeah.
from a tank.
Okay, I'll spend a point of willpower.
Go for it. Okay, so 3 successes. Francis, Sir Francis, there's about 3 nights. 2 nights, actually. 2 nights to the party. And, well, I need everybody to be at their utmost and best behavior. Both, they need to represent skill, talent, modesty, and pride. They need to present themselves as the creme de la creme of Clan Toreador. So, when I hear things occurring before the party, things occurring that are very unbeknownst to Clan Toreador, you can see why this might put a little bit of an issue present. Yes?
My queen, you think I would use disciplines on Elysium grounds? You wound me.
I was young once as well. We've all done mistakes before. The best I can say at this moment, Sir Francis, go meet with Lady Margaret. She should be arriving soon. Apologize. Work out your grievances together.
I'm
And
so sorry you suck, my lady.
work out your grievances and, well, be on your best behavior, I suppose. We don't want anything bad happening again, and especially in 2 nights. Is that clear, Sir
Very
Francis?
well. I will assist Margaret in maintaining her self-control.
It's a horrible accident, my queen. She stumbled in front of the arrow.
Mm-hmm. And she sort of just looks at you for a few seconds and seems to almost glance away for a second and then glance back, and that will be all, Sir Francis. Good luck
Very
tonight.
well.
Good luck tonight. And as she sort of finishes that, about 2 seconds maybe passed, and the door opens with the servant that was before approaching forward and just bowing. Please escort Sir Francis back to the ballroom so he can meet the others again in practice. Don't disappoint Francis.
Simply lose presence. I will simply use presence 6 laugh on Margaret, and then she can say that he made up to the queen.
But the servant bows to you again, and sort of just stands sort of just a little bit behind you, waiting to escort you out, essentially.
Well, I bow to my queen before I leave.
She nods back, and yeah, you're escorted out of the room. The big door closes again, and servant, silent as all, is just proceeding. Begins to bring you back to the ballroom. Just as a sort of interest at this point, what's going through Francis' mind as you're sort of being escorted there? There's probably a lot of thoughts going back in that mind.
Oh, mostly, yeah.
She's clairvoyance in
Yeah.
your brain.
You know, I'll say it like this, there we go.
Go for it.
You know, immense skill and power come from assuring yourself that you were born to be at the top.
That's some heavy pride right there. Damn, son.
Demi, can I ask a roll on Nyaxi's behalf? Whether the queen was a little proud of him doing this or just pissed?
Sure. Roll me a perception empathy roll, and I'm going to roll also against. This would be difficulty 6 for your roll. Okay, damn. Give me just one bit. Yeah. All right. You were looking at that entire time, and you're getting mixed messages. There, either it was unclear, or you might have mistaken something, or maybe it was just that good. You, knowing the situation, you inside feel like, oh yeah, she might be pissed, but at the same time, there might be that chance. And as you sort of go back to that scenario, and looking at her at the time and now thinking after it, it's hard to tell exactly. It could be both. It could be neither, in fact.
Well, the queen said that only the best Toreador should partake in the festival.
I mean, you had to show that you weren't a bitch and that you could rip these others apart. And now she knows that you only restrain yourself from doing it because she asked. But you could if you wanted to, right?
No, I think I'll add that as a fact. Also, just a question, because this is currently right now, just to ask. I'm GM rolling just mostly to avoid amounts of dice and stuff like that. But would you guys like to know successes then at that point, or not, or keep that as well silent, just to see if like anybody might be a bit iffy on if I'm flopping stuff.
Eh.
Kraft, Yaxi, Redo. Also, well, Redo just came back. Redo, GM roles. I'm hiding them due to dice reasons, but would you want successes to be known or nah? In case, just in case you might feel like I'm flopping stuff in the back.
Yes, I would like to know eventually. Like, of course, not when it matters, but afterwards.
Fair enough.
I mean,
Kraft, Yaxi.
I
I don't
personally
really
like
know.
it. Kind of makes sense at first when it's like a new character and we don't know how dangerous they are. But after a session or two, you can start rolling them openly, maybe.
Yeah.
Once we
Okay.
get a feeling.
So just to then I'll go with successes, but keep the dice hidden for the time being, because I don't really want to know unless you like get super known with the person essentially. Beat you by one success.
Okay,
So-
sure. So she has 12 dice. If you go by averages.
But beat you by one success.
I mean,
Not
if I
like
was a Toreador, a surrogate parent, I would be pissed if my kid didn't try this at least once. Let me just say that. And then I would be pissed if they kept trying it after I told them no.
Fair enough. So, eventually, as your escort, then you wait a little bit while. Eventually, people start coming in, and Margaret seems to be the last one to arrive this time around. And as she sort of sees you, you can feel a little bit. There's that tension in the air, right? It's just extremely noticeable. But she presents herself again. Sir Francis.
Margaret, my dear friend.
Shall we continue from where we left off from last night?
Of course, very not. The Queen has especially instructed me to for this situation.
Oh my fucking god, there's blood on the walls already! Oh my god, it's fucking murder. I think that might be a frenzy check right there, Demi.
Nah, I'm putting that as a tick for the time being. She sort of just, you can see a little small little twitch that she just strains herself forward and it's like puts out her hand forward a little bit slow, a little bit like waiting for yours.
I take it with my award-winning smile.
And you begin another night of practice and dancing. Before we go back, is there anything specific you'd like to do while this trading goes on again?
I kind of want to do the same thing as before, but I won't use presents, and I will like very obviously kind of hold back for her.
Okay.
He
So
wants to make it look like he's slowing down for her.
all right. Now, question. Would you be willing then to engage in another celerity-induced dance or nah, is a question.
I mean, how confident is she about celerity-induced
She's-
dancing after the last time?
She's gonna go for it.
Sure, why not?
Okay. So we're not gonna go extremely large. So just spend one blood point essentially. And do you want to do two things? The dancing roll essentially, and the previous one, which was like appearance intimidation, I believe, or do you just want to beat her in dancing once again, by holding back this time around?
Well, I mean, if 2 rolls are necessary for that, yeah, I mean, I will roll both.
Okay. Then give me the dancing one. So dexterity, performance. If you want to hold back, I think how we're going to do it is you can reduce as much dice as you want to sort of make yourself purposefully worse.
Okay, you know what? How I will do that? I will just not blood buff this time.
Fucking crazy. Okay. Roll for it then. Dexterity 6. Difficulty 6. And she will attempt so as well. Let me just get the dice. That and that. Okay. Okay. So, and give me for the while, then give me an appearance subterfuge roll as well. Okay. So you start dancing and it goes along, and she seems to put up a fight for the beginning, sort of trying to get that little bit of edge on you, so to say, as it usually was. But once again, you're just one step higher than her. You beat her by one success. Fucking hell. And she starts to obviously be a bit unnerved again, but then she realizes, don't do this again. So instead, she starts to, as the dance continues to go on, loosen up, sort of letting you be the lead, letting you do this. And as you're trying to present a front this time around, she seems to focus sort of almost either, in a bit of a flurry, in a bit of a fashion-like statement almost, sort of gaze her way out, trying to purposefully, whenever she can, and you can notice this, ignore you bits in here, but making it feel natural and stuff. And she seems to be able to shrug off your intimidation attempts for the time being of superiority. But you still beat her on that noise, and that goes on for a while. Eventually, though, as you start dying down and ending, with the for the night, bowing, and everybody begins to leave. A knock comes up on the big door, and somebody enters the room, which is pretty unexpected. Usually, who is like either guards or Helen herself. But this time, a sort of a servant, male sort of feature, a bit burly, but pretty peasant-like, working clothes essentially. Sort of bows to all of you extremely deeply and says, "I asked for Sir Francis."
That
Very
little
well.
bitch, I told him to look for Lord de Fagnon. Such familiarity from a servant. Strike him down.
Did I? Sure. Forgot about that point. Then sure. Then let's go with that. Lord de Fagnon.
Oh, what is it?
You didn't present his. Did you present? Would you present your name or not?
Yeah, no, I have no reason not to.
Okay. An individual known as Domino is looking for you.
I see.
So, you can feel that he's standing up pretty uptight, straight. It's like, don't move a muscle. If you move a muscle, it's all over.
We're through most of the most of the evening's activities, right?
Yeah, this is basically dying down. Everybody's sort of just like ready, just resting just a little bit mentally before leaving and enjoying themselves here with some a little bit of drinks here and there.
Very well. I believe my good friend and coaching mate would only call upon me in an emergency. So I will bid an early leave. And I bow to everyone except the servant.
Yeah, they'll bow back, sort of, Margaret being like, "Okay, I haven't won the war, but I might have just by a smidge won the battle. Not sure, not really, but it's just
And
like,
as I leave through the door, right? I hold, I turn a little, and I smile at Margareta. Like wink at her before I go.
Yeah, you can see, you know, sort of a smile just go down to a fucking frown, and as you just leave, and that's the last you see of her.
Ever. She frenzies second afterwards and is put down.
And yeah, the servant escorts you forward pretty stiffly, and eventually you return back to the go to the courtyard, and two of you can meet. You see the hobo man himself.
Yeah, I am in my shitty cloak, the forest cloak, the one that is covered in patches, and in order to blend in a little better, probably. Bow, my lord de Fagnon, I'm gratified that you could free up a moment for me. If you would not mind, please follow me to the gatehouse. I have something to show you.
Of course.
When you sort of notice that, the stiff servant that was sort of awkwardly waiting there realizes, like, oh yeah, shit. He just goes and starts going back. It's like, should not be here.
Now, what you're about to see may shock you. There has been a, shall we say, an altercation through no fault of my own. I have been viciously assaulted, and I could use your advice.
See ya. Who, if I may ask, were the perpetrators of this most heinous crime?
I point at the cart. They are in the back. The one that is still moving is my partner in the task that have been recently given me, and he helped me survive. Ta-da! Two gangrel dog boys.
Would you be situated a bit further from the character, or right next to it? Like when you're talking.
I would just go straight to the cart. I'm not gonna hide from Lambert.
Yeah, and as he presents, Lambert just sort of begrudgingly just. Oh.
It's fine, Lambert. Don't hurt yourself.
Okay.
So, a little bit of background, Lord Francis. The gangrels seem to, one of them, this one, pointed Volo, seemed to have a problem with me, and the Rosette, who was in charge of this mission, wisely decided that we should stick to opposite sides of the river and form separate teams to avoid exactly this sort of thing. Unfortunately, this no doubt esteemed member of the court decided that he should come hunt me down on my side of the river and confront me, with clear intention of causing me, if not outright harm, then a great deal of pain. And we were forced to defend ourselves. Now, obviously this has to go to someone in charge, but I was wondering if you had any recommendations as to the best way to present this unfortunate matter.
Okay, let's see. What do I know about the standing of clan gangrel in the city?
They usually give me a full-on intelligence politics, just to sort of see how much info I can give you, and how.
At 6?
Yeah, at 6. Yeah, 3 successes. Do you have any specialties?
No.
Okay. With 3 successes, you know a pretty good chunk of essentially the idea. The gangrels mostly hold out on the outskirts in the nearby villages in the wild, obviously, sort of to themselves. You know that they have a little bit of an inside presence, but that usually is situated on the island, as I'm pinging here. And as such, they don't seem to have a huge utmost presence in the city. And obviously, because of that, numbers can vary at any given time. I mean, people come, present themselves as, the norm, but then they fuck off, not seen for 3 years, come seen again, and are not seen ever again. So the numbers can be changeable. But there is what is known to be a decently like a dozen or so, sort of what is about the average, sort of on the outskirts, sort of laying there, having their own small lay of claim and the stuff. And obviously, being considered a low clan, they don't really have much of a big status in the city. But obviously, Gangrel being Gangrel, they have their uses, they have their worth, and they're fucking deadly. Is there anything that you specifically wanted to know, or?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we should either bring it up to the Rosetten that was in charge, or to the Seneschal. Right?
Asking me or Christ?
I'm asking out of character. I mean, anyone
Oh,
can
out of character.
answer.
Yeah, there's definitely a few ways to go about it. This doesn't
Okay,
need
so the way
indulgence.
we should go about it is obviously asking the one that likes Clan Gangrel the least.
um, there is these cities do have a sheriff in charge, and that it would be what one somebody could see as the most logical way of going through it. Bringing it to the Rosette that was in charge might also be another venue, but no matter how you look at it, there's going to be some intervention here and there. It's not just a purely clear cut, just judge, jury, executioner right there and then, essentially.
Yeah, that's why we get to choose.
So if we go to the Rosette, that's a, hey, we're sorry, let's make peace option. Does Domhnall want to make peace? I want to make peace, because I don't want them on my ass. But Domhnall was viciously and unfairly assaulted. So I don't think he... Demi, can you make some sort of a social roll on behalf of the Rosette to see how well he was avoiding being a dick during that conversation? When he set us the mission and he was like, hey, I'm Gangrel, but we're cool.
Sure, I'll roll that one for you, essentially. Just give me a bit. But I can also tell you, well, let me first then roll, I suppose. That's nice. About that. Okay. There was obviously a little bit of you could have known that. Like he has what you can presume, a position, a stature. And as such has to present himself, especially since you were on a team and there might have been even a recommendation from somebody else or he accepted and things. But in general, he tried to be as polite as possible without purposefully making Volo like super angry. It's like you're a bitch, you're on his side, at the same time as trying to not insult you or push his own agenda, essentially. But in general, he was holding himself as much as possible, essentially, and being slightly formal.
Okay. Fuck. Who the fuck do I go to? So we have the sheriff who we haven't met, we have the Seneschal, and we have the Rosette.
And there multiple sheriffs?
Yeah, there are multiple sheriffs. There's actually a bit more, but single them down to sort of
Okay, so
main
one of
people.
them has to hate Clan Gangrel, right? If there's so many.
We need one of the ones on this side of the river, though. Jurisdiction. Yeah. So we have two to choose from, in theory.
Since also brought here. You guys have interact slightly known here and about, so this doesn't really need intelligence politics roll, essentially. But in general, what you know from one is, said to be quite burly, quite rowdy and the like, and the other one seems to be much more of the, some have described him Toreador-like. So that's sort of just the basic information of like purely their character.
Okay. Fuck, I need to make a call here. So, I think I actually want to go to the Rosette, and the reasoning is that breaking promises is a important part of my path, or failure to keep them, and the dude wasn't a dick. And there was kind of an implied promise as well to try and work together. So I would like to give him the opportunity to make this right before I escalate.
All right then. So, if you're looking for the Rosette, where would you go exactly?
Well, he was supposedly out, and I assume there are servants that work with him pretty directly. So
There's servants here about, and some of them obviously being ghouls and like I have a little bit more of an in of who is who and who is important essentially.
effectively, I want to check with the servants if he's in the castle, and if he's not, just as soon as he arrives, tell him that. Well, essentially, I'm going to be in the courtyard and waiting for him. And
All right. Just by asking around the servants, essentially, you're actually a little bit surprised as one of them tells you actually that, yes, Master Amulius arrived about 30 minutes ago, essentially. And that sort of comes in line. It's like he almost arrived just before you, actually, as you were waiting for Francis and the like.
Mhm.
And he seems to be, I believe, in the armory.
Okay, then I'm gonna head there.
Do you just keep the cart there? Do you pull it forward, like
I'm
inside?
gonna
Like, what do
pull
you?
the cart forward, but I'm gonna go inside alone. And if Franz is okay with that, just leave him with Lambert and, do this man to man. Respect.
And yeah, I won't leave the, like, your herd companion and suddenly can't leave them. Him alone to guard the cart, as another path of chivalry.
Okay, I'm
Fair
gonna, just stride inside the armory.
Yeah, as you go into inside the armory, you can see, you can see more or less, the cape, the cloak, the same things, and he seems to be sort of inspecting some of the weapons. Essentially, he seems to be holding a bit of a longer spear now, just sort of looking if everything's all right, putting it back. Sort of turns over to you and says, "Good evening, Domhnall. Can I help you?"
Actually, you can. There's no polite way to say this, so, did you know what Volo was up to tonight?
No, I waited for him, but he never arrived. What do you know?
He came after me and Lambert with another gangrel, I presume. They are, we were forced to defend ourselves there, Torpard.
Yeah, as he was sort of holding one of those spears essentially, and he says this, he just breaks it half like, God damn it, Volo.
I'm gonna hold
where the
out
fuck
the
is he?
sword. You'll want to give this back to him. I have a feeling this might be important to him.
He sort of takes it. It's a little bit it aggressively takes it. You can feel that he's definitely stirred up a bit. It's like, so where is he? The cunt.
Just outside.
And he follows you through to the cart. In the meantime, as well, sort of Lambert just as Domhnall goes in, sort of Lambert goes, it's like, so how does a pretty boy like you know Domhnall, actually, if I can ask?
Lambert, so precious, so pure.
Well, we have a number of shared interests.
But I mean, he's a good guy, but it just feels like you're entirely unrelated. Fuck it.
All gingers know each other, Lambert.
So, you don't mind if I just, rest here, right?
Of course not.
All right. I don't want to talk. And he just sort of slumps back again. It's like, and in that moment, you see Domhnall come out, and you see, the stature behind him, and yeah, you can recognize this as Amulius, and it comes out, and it's like, fuck, an entire cot. You sort of, all right, show me.
Okay. Pull aside my soon to be wolf cloak. I hope he doesn't recognize the animal. And show him the two bodies. One still locked in wolf form, I think.
Yeah. He sort of just looks at them, sort of punches like the backside of the cart, essentially like. Sort of looks at you, looks at Lambert. Lambert has to forcefully, sadly go up again. It's like, just go back, nod. Moyles just nods back at him. He falls back. It's like, still thinks. Just bring it over there. And he sort of shows a little bit of like a small, like bigger entrance. Sort of seemingly a car can for. Bring it in there. I'm gonna stay near the bodies. Don't try anything funny. I'm gonna go and see about where the fucking sheriff is and where the rest is, and we're gonna have to solve this before anything goes worse. And he sort of just stomps off essentially a little bit, go inside. You presumably bring the card inside and wait there for a little bit. And Moilers comes back. There's about 2 guards seemingly also there, and just like, all right. Sort of things. Slowly bring them in. Lambert, can you walk? With difficulty. All right. And Moilers tries to sort of help Lambert get the fuck up and sort of hobble over and just like, follow me. And at a point, he just also looks at you, Francis, like, so you a part of this, or?
He's just a good friend.
Do we need him now or no? You can stay out of this, actually.
Do like a little bow towards anyone higher ranked than me, and
Yeah.
nod towards Donald, and I'm gonna go hunting.
Yeah, I'm just
Alright.
shrug like, you know what happened to me if this goes wrong. He can bury this now.
And eventually you get sort of led to a room. And it seems to be, as you sort of enter it, it seems to almost be like a mini throne room, if we want to call it like that. It's has some pillars, has some things, has chairs sort of sitting, an opening in front, and seems to have about 3 chairs essentially, all right next to each other, and with like this big sort of stone desk sort of deal. It's almost like a, I don't know what the fuck best way would be to describe it, like a fucking burial stone, you know, where you cut people up and like do ceremonies, that sort of deal, but it's not actually satanic on it.
Okay, I've seen one of these in the woods.
And sort of Moilius sort of puts Lambert down on one of these sort of like side chairs. The guards sort of put the bodies down on the floor. One puts just like throws the things and like on there. It's like, all right, the sheriff and the seneschal should be here soon enough. So just take a seat. And Morris is gonna take a seat, just sit down, sort of across from you guys and the other ones. Who do you sit with? There's Lambert on one side and Moilus on the other, and like there's guards like sort of at the door now.
I'm gonna sit next to Moilus. He's a cool dude.
All right, about 5-10 minutes pass. Sort of the door goes in, like opens slightly, and then somebody just sort of pushes it greatly, and at that point you sort of see the figure, and yeah, from what you know, this is let me just find him. This is probably the person that they were mentioning. Essentially, was a bit big and grumpy. Essentially,
Any gangrel, dog boy features on him?
none. You see, he's pretty burly. He's pretty big. You can see like, you know, there's a cape behind him. He seems to be armored, always armored, have a sword at the side, and as he pushes it forward, it's like, all right, you fucking sods, what the fuck happened here now? And Moilius stands up. Sheriff, it seems as we've had a case of assault. Of course they fucking did. And he sort of goes back and sits down. We'll wait for the seneschal before we start this shit. sort of sits back. And maybe another 5 minutes pass before one of the seneschals enters in, and it's not Bernard this time. It seems you recognize him as he doesn't have much of a presence, but you know him as sort of the not really as the other seneschal, but more of the quieter seneschal, and sort of this pretty old, pretty weak looking man essentially sort of comes to the door, sort of holding some books, holding some parchment. Essentially, just comes in, sort of nods to all of you, looks into the bodies, just sort of more or less bows down, and the sheriff just stands there, and as he loops around, puts his stuff down, and sheriff, you can start if you want. He sort of nods, comes up. All right, Moilius, the fuck happened? And Moilius stands up again, sort of looks over to the sheriff, looks back at you, and says, "Well, it seems that these two gangrel here attacked Sir Domhnall here, and Sir Lambert over there." And sort of points out, it's like, "Oh fuck, Lambert, what you got yourself into this time?" Lambert sort of just pulls back, just like, so just shrugs. All right, Lambert, you fucking rest up. Domhnall.
Yes, sir?
So these two beast boys fucking attacked you, eh?
Yeah. We were supposed to stay on our separate sides of the river so we wouldn't get in each other's way, and these fuckers came after us on our side.
All right. Start the story from the beginning, then. All the details. Don't fucking miss anything.
Okay, sure. We've been hunting the forests, trying to keep down the population of any dangerous wildlife that could attack any guests coming in. We were going out for another night with our cart. I sensed some approaching danger, and me and Lambert decided to take cover in case something dangerous showed up. And lo and behold, Willow comes up with what appeared to be two cool dogs. We later learned that one of them was in fact a gangrel, but we didn't know at the time. So we stayed hidden. He starts yelling out threats, starts proclaiming that, I think the exact quote was, "It's gonna hurt less if you come out." Unfortunately, we were not hidden well enough, and one of them came on us. And, well, that's when the fight erupted with this one, point at the gangrel in dog form. And at that point, it was just, shoot or be shot, stab or be stabbed.
All right. Lambert, your turn now. Sort of turns a bit, sort of tries to stand up. You just sort of said things like that. But I mean, that's basically what the fuck happened. I kind of got fucked up. One of them really clawed me good. It was that bastard. Points to the guy in wolf form. We tried to hide. Fucking saw me specifically. Try to fuck it up. Went here and there, but we won, and now we're here. So it just looks at it, it's like, Lambert, you really need to know how to make proper sentences sometimes. It just goes like, "Aye, sorry, sir." All right. Fair enough. Moilis, anything from your point? Mercer says, well, I was waiting for Volo on the west side of the city. We were supposed to do the mission of hunting wildlife. I waited for him half an hour, I believe even up to 45 minutes. He never showed up. Came back to the castle, and Domino came to me saying, we got a problem essentially, and showed me that, and that's it. You're on the end with them, so anything suspicious, anything that led up to this, why the fuck would Volo and whoever that
Uh-oh. Hello? Is only Demi frozen or is everyone?
I can
Hmm?
hear you.
Here.
But
Okay.
Demi is dead for me too.
I think it's Demi.
He's busy telling a really inspirational roleplay all by himself on his side.
F. Maybe message him.
He's trying to load.
Hello?
Oh,
Hey,
he's back.
Shit, when did I freeze? What was the last thing I said?
You were asking about whether there was something suspicious, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and Moilius sort of looks to you, backs to the sheriff. Well, some I've heard here and here a bit stories about you know, Ginger Malkavian with a bow fucked people up back in England and at places, and well, story goes well, and it seems that a bunch of them hate him. That's sort of the gist of it.
If
Yeah.
I may, sir, Volo did have a Norse sword with him, and I have in the past, as a good son of Ireland, fought to defend my homeland against the invaders.
The sheriff sort of looks at you, nods. All right. Where is that sword? And Moilius sort of just brings it back. He was like a little like half sheet, just puts it down. All right. So now with the testimonies out, time to see who's lying. As the sort of sheriff claps and the door opens, you see a pretty decently like tall standing man, maybe. Fuck, Kraft's gonna hate me with the measurements because everybody was smaller. But like 185, 190, like decently tall, but
Oh my
slender,
god,
not really
he's
bulky.
a fucking giant!
Giant, I know, right? Sort of tall, standing, but he's unusual.
Oh fuck, it's a Kiesid.
Make me a intelligence academics roll at I don't know 6. Yeah, 6
I don't have academics, I only have occult, and
+2
+2. What was the base?
difficulty. Base is 6, so +2 difficulty. So roll at 8.
Okay.
Damn, you actually have 4 intelligence. Didn't you have? Less?
No, I have intelligence and occult.
Oh shit! Not my bad. Not supposed to be. Did I say occult? I said academics, didn't
You
I?
said academics, and I said I only have occult. You want just
Oh.
intelligence?
Yeah, just intelligence then at 8.
Alright. No fucking clue.
Yeah. Yeah, you look at him. He has like a decent gown down, like sort of going down.
It's a battle
really
cloak run.
Really well dressed. Sort of like outlinings here seems to be under a little bit almost like of a belt sort of deal. And well, let me get a fucking photo. And something that really stands out to you, you've never seen this sort of headwear before, actually. And sort of headwear before, and he sort of steps forward, goes in, bows. Aziz, good to meet you. Many of you know who the fuck he is. Lambert looks back, doesn't. Morley sort of nods. You don't. Sort of, Aziz, just for quickly, just introduce yourself. Very well. My name is Aziz Kasebi. I'm of clan Assamite, a vizier to be specifically. I'm here working as a harpy at points. and also helping in cases like this to find out the truth. All right? He sort of just nods, and that'll do. So, tell them the procedure. And he sort of looks into a satchel in the back, takes out, you can see sort of a goblet sort of deal, essentially, and sort of goes to your table first and places it down. I will require I will require you to, and, 1 second. He pulls out a knife as well. I will require you to add a pool of blood into into this goblet. Fill it to the brim, please.
I just look at Milius like, what the fuck kind of magic bullshit is this?
Just do it.
I'm gonna raise my wrist to my face and bite. Fuck his knife.
Sure. It hurts. You know, it biting yourself, still, well, kinky as it can be at points, it hurts because it's fangy and does aggravate it, but it's not a
The
big wound.
kiss is
And
not
blood,
an aggravated thing, though.
and essentially you start to bleed. Essentially, it starts pouring up slowly, and just drain essentially to fill it up properly and stuff. Just use spend a blood point essentially.
All right.
Okay. Now let me just 100% confirm this. Okay. So as the cup takes, he sort of takes it up in his front and starts swirling and saying something in a language you have no idea what it is. It feels satanic to any regard. Seems deep. Seems like almost like it's forceful on the throat even.
Oh yeah, Domhnall is enraptured. He's paying attention to every detail. This is some cool magic shit.
Let me just do the appropriate stuff. Okay, that. And yeah, so it's that plus okay. And how much willpower do you have right now?
3.
Actually, equal to the actually permanent
4.
4. All right. He sort of makes his force, and you as he sort of pulls it down and puts it in front of you, essentially, sort of looking at you, like straight into the eyes. It is ready.
You want me to repeat what I said before?
No. Sheriff, what are the questions you would like to ask? The sheriff sort of thinks for a little bit. Let's go with the straightforward one, I suppose. Ask him if he's lying. The sort of things like, so sort of like a look is like, all right. Domhnall, by the power of the blood, I ask you, are you lying?
Am I compelled to answer honestly, Demi? More than usual?
No, actually.
Domhnall has learned something new about how this magic works.
Yeah, you don't feel any compellment, essentially.
No.
And as you see, essentially, as you say that, there's almost like a little bit of like you can see like bubbling a little bit in the goblet as it sort of just vapor starts coming out, and after it sort of clears out, it sort of reduces by a little bit.
Domhnall is now just mouth slightly open, just looking at the goblet enraptured. Oh, that is so fucking cool.
And Can
others learn to do this?
Moila just sort of And as you can see go back in front of you, you see the face. You sort of the eyeballs sort of go up and after a few seconds come back out. I believe he is not lying. He seems to say the truth, that the statement is true. I mean, that fucking solves all issues. Fuck, let's go on more specific then. Ask him who attacked who exactly first. Yes, your sheriff. Domino, by the power of the blood, I ask you, who attacked who first?
Domhnall thinks back. It's confusing, but I believe the that one over there pointed at the Wolfgang row, let out a battle cry on seeing Lambert, and I think he was intending to charge, but Lambert shot at him before he could start the charge, and that's how it started.
The eyes repeat the same motion, this time a little bit longer. Comes back. Looks to the sheriff. What he says is true. I've seen it. The details of the scene are there. Sort of just looks so the fuck, what I wanted to say is the sheriff sort of looks back, says, how much left? There is some amount left. All right. Huh. The sheriff thinks for a little bit. The seneschal sort of comes up and says, please describe what you would like to do after. What would you like for their punishment to be? Yeah, the vizier asks you that question.
In what way? On a personal level or on a political level? The answers differ slightly.
The seneschal says, what would you want as a punishment? What would you seem fit for such actions?
I mean, honestly, just see if he cared about that wolf of his. Seeing me wear it as a coat and seeing the look on his face would be almost punishment enough for me.
Eyes go back, comes out, looks over. He has thought of this. This is, by the way, he has thought of this. That is indeed what he seems to be wanting to do. All right. And you can see at the very end, as the sort of goblet keeps going out, there's just a little bit left behind, as it seems to be vaporizing, essentially. And he has to sort of dip his finger a little bit deeper in now. There is, I believe, enough for one more. Any specific questions left? The two ask things. Have you recently hunted or killed or were in a fight with other gangrel in about the last 5 to 10 years?
Not that I can recall, no.
Vizier goes up again. The last sort of vaporize, and this one sort of vaporize a little bit more interesting, as it sort of the vapor now combines into almost like a little bit of like a mini tornado sort of deal before vaporizing at the very end, sort of in a nice little line going straight. Comes back. He shows no such visions. He is not. All right. he sort of goes back. The procedure essentially goes back with Moilius and Lambert. Sort of not really similar question in this case, but trying to confirm the little bits and pieces here essentially. And at the end, the sheriff just goes like, Seneschal, well, I think it's a bit obvious. This is just a little bit of a vendetta somebody had, eh? I believe that would be the appropriate answer. So, Sheriff, what would you do? Well, technically, they didn't go against the tradition of destruction. Nobody's died. But it was an attempt. You could go back and stuff and go back and do similar cases. So, Domino, you just want them to
I just
live
want
in
him
shame.
to stay the. I just mostly what I want is for him to not be in my face every time I turn a corner. The coat is a nice bonus.
It is what you have received from such a battle. I don't see why you cannot keep it. Lambert sort of just looks and just goes like, well, I just want to stop hurting. I don't honestly care what the fuck happens to them. I sure go with whatever Domino says. Sure sort of looks. Well, that may be an appropriate way of going about things, going by the wishes of the offender. Sadly, we have just one little bit to finish. Moilius, you know them a little bit more personally, and Seneschal, I believe you've been taking records. What generation are they? Volo seems to, and sort of the Seneschal goes through some of the papers sort of things, and sort of Moilius tries to remember. Moilius comes up and thinks, I believe Volo was an 11th generation. And for the wolf, don't know. Well, either a friend, which means they're similar. So, all right. Seneschal, you or me? Seneschal sort of course, it's always me. And he sort of gets up, goes closer, and sort of just slits and sort of puts some, like, force feeds them a little bit of blood. And then sort of just like holding his thing, smudging the blood and just sort of like clearing it off and puts back the armor. Licks a little bit of his own thing. He's like, oh yeah, that's the good stuff. Sort of waits, goes back to sit. Waits. Well, maybe 5-10 minutes pass essentially. And you can see sort of Volo first sort of shaking essentially as he sort of eventually arises, eyes open and extremely hurting as he goes, oh, fuck.
I want to be just giving him the smug, oh, you bitch, grin from the table, like...
Yeah, he sort of turns to you and just, you can feel him, Trevor, almost as like, you can feel there's still that enragement of the beast, but it's almost as if it's too weak, too fresh to even do something, and it's just like, fuck. A few moments pass still, and the the wolf starts to sort of like vibrate a little bit before slowly starting to revert back to a human form, revealing a mostly naked individual, actually. Basically
I've seen like dozens of these. They come off a factory in IKEA.
Yeah. And he sort of gets up, hurt, sort of tries to do a push-up, almost like to hurt himself, like push and put himself up, but he's too hurt, and he sort of slumps over on the sides, like, says something in a language you recognize, Norse of some sorts. Just goes, looks at Volo. We fucked up.
That's at that point they knew they fucked up.
And Morlus looks back, like, I recognize him. That's Volo's sire, Adelstein. Adelstein? Who, like, this fairy goes, the fuck is that? He's a gangrel, comes from up. Why did you do this to yourself? It's like, he sort of tries to speak. That fucker over there. He brought shame to our clan. It is only necessary to bring shame to him as well.
An unapologetic asshole. Little fuck.
Hey, sometimes you raid lands, carry off gold, sometimes you get shot. It's the way it goes for you.
And Moile sort of just lifts the sword. It's like, so, this related any form way? He sort of looks back, thinks, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell the story. That there belonged to one of my kinsmen, a good friend I had at heart long ago. And that son of a bitch killed him. Right through the eye that arrow went. Right there and then. I'll never forget that day. He was like a brother to me. And at that day I swore vengeance. I swore I'd hunt him down one day, whenever I find him, whenever I sniff him out. He was going to die one day or another, be that by me or one of my brothers. It seems I failed in that task today. And sort of just Sheriff goes like, so just nods like, I mean, I get it. Like, sort of looks at someone, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's like,
It's against traditions, dude. What the fuck?
Would Domhnall know about their belief in going to Valhalla?
give me a, I wouldn't say academics or theology in this case. Do you have Hearth Wisdom?
I have a dot of it.
Roll that, and because of your familiarity, roll it at 5. I think you'd be much more in contact with that, so you might know something. 1 success. Frankly, you remember a little bit. You mean, every time, you shoot a bastard, and then they start charging, you always hear about this. You hear something in their voice, and then you hear Valhalla. And, asking around a little bit about that, you get tidbits in here. It seems to be basically heaven from what you can get from it.
Hold up. Why are you so pissed? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't I send him straight to your heaven?
He sort of looks at you. You might have sent him to Valhalla, you might have not. You shot him right there and then. He had no fight. It is only up to the gods' blessing to see if he goes up or not. And I couldn't take that chance.
So, look at the table if they're okay with me continuing to speak.
Yeah, no, they're watching you. It's like,
So,
he seems to know something about this, yeah?
So, you're upset with me because you think that your brother might have been too unworthy for the gods to take him to heaven.
You take that back right now! Sheriff just says, silent! Domhnall, you should know better not to fucking aggravate them right now. There is only one reason why we woke you fucks up. And I think it's clear enough. You were this close to breaking the tradition of destruction. So, what do we do with you? The sort of gangrel sort of looks at you, just scoffs at him. Volo just like, just sort of like calm the fuck down, calm the fuck down. You know, sort of it's like Seneschal looks. Well, if they'd failed this time, if we keep them alive, they'll just try another time. So perhaps death might be a better alternative. The sheriff goes. I'd agreed. People calling me a fucking viper, stop! Hold up. Soz ne mogu stvarno, brate, imam nešto pričam.
That's
Molim.
jihadi talk right there.
Just jihadi.
You want real jihadi talk?
And sort of look over to the Aziz and it's like, Aziz, what would you want to do? He sort of strokes his beard essentially. Throughout my time of traveling, I have encountered many princes and sheriffs deciding the fate. Death is indeed appropriate. Perhaps a boon may also be wise. Exile some have had if they've shown mercy and leniency. So I suppose anything you would like to do, Sheriff, is up to you. He sort of looks back. Volo, how... Oh. No, actually, I think I know what we'll have to do. Volo, you will be exiled. You don't look the part. You're just one stupid neonate trying to follow into his tire's steps. You'll be exiled, not from Paris. I will make sure word spreads so that you will be banished from France entirely. You will leave tonight, no matter what kind of wounds you carry. Adelstein, well, you'll be sentenced to death. Is there any way you would like to go? Fire, or just a clean execution? Sort of looks at, just fucking cut me. Just cut my head. Then I believe everything is all right then. So, guards, and sort of two guards come in. Take him to the execution ground. Volo, we'll get to you. You're not moving anywhere. Put some shackles on him.
I want to call out to Adelstein. May your gods carry you to Valhalla as he's taken out.
He sort of just reacts to that and just sort of like, I've heard about you.
Best trial ever. Oh my.
High quality ST.
He should just, go to his room, lock it, put on some soundproofing on the door and walls. There you go.
Listen, that's fucking horrible. They start calling you, and they try to yell at you when you open the door half an hour later. So, it's not always the best approach.
Alright then.
Personally, I see this trial as a total win for Domhnall. Better than I expected.
What if you had gotten like a life boon from that gangrel?
That just means keeping him around and constant resentment,
Hello.
which would piss off more of them. I would have seen that as a net negative.
Guys, I got this. Oh. Fucking lovely. Oh.
So what does
I have to fucking-
Adelstein say to my kind wishes?
Okay, that was the Bard a little bit. He sort of scoffs at you. I've heard of your hell. You will definitely be going there one day. And mark my words, it will be by one of Gangrel's hands. As the guards sort of just push him fucking forward. Almost, like, push him with actually a bit of strength and, like, he's damaged already. It seems to, like do a little bit more. It's like, bend him. It's like, oh! As you hear, like, scream of like a little bit of pain from him. Just pulls back and just keep escorting on out. While another guard seems to be coming in, eventually putting shackles on Volo, so he definitely doesn't go anywhere. The sheriff sort of looks to you, Azel, you know all this. Well, that was easy. So, Domhnall, I suppose, on behalf of the city of Paris, we are very, very sorry that you were this close to dying.
I mean, what can you do? Shit happens.
Exactly. So Seneschal, did you write stuff down? Sort of finishing? Yep, that will be all. Alright. So, Lambert's injured, and Volo's fucked. Moilius, those two people were on the whole mission wildlife thing. Do you need anybody else? So just looks, don't believe so. I think we've dealt with most of them, most of the wildlife for the time being. So a little bit of days of rest for Domhnall and Lambert would, I believe, go a long way.
I am fine to continue on my own tomorrow night.
Sort of looks on you. Don't trust me.
Fair enough.
Looks to you, Domhnall. So, you're free to go. And, Lambert, need help? That would be nice. All right.
I would be happy to help Lambert. He got injured. You know, getting caught up in this.
Perfect then. Well, I'm going to go now enjoy myself now that this is over. And, hopefully this shit doesn't happen again. Good evening. As he sort of just brushes forward and leaves, the, Aziz, the Harpier says, I believe I will see most of you again in 2 nights, I believe. It will be a pleasure to have some discussion later. Sort of bows and goes. The Seneschal sort of takes a little bit of time organizing things, sort of just nods at all of you and just ignores you as he goes out, essentially. And that's that.
Okay, Moilis already left, or is he one of the last to leave?
Yeah, Moilis is like the last to leave, sort of just looking between you. Lambert is like, you sure you don't need help?
We'll stay inside the city. I'll help him hunt. If you need any more help, Treblana, I think she's not bad at convincing animals to do her bidding. You might ask her.
All right, I'll look into that. Just so we're on the clear here, I've heard a bunch of you, but, I mean, you didn't do anything wrong to me. Just so we get that clear. It just becomes really annoying when you hear how many innocents might have died from this. You get me?
Listen, I was just defending my homeland the best way I could. They were invaders.
It's been a few years since it all started to begin, so it's hard to say that any of them might have been just natives at that point. It could have been their homeland as well. Take it from a gangrel, our homeland changes every few years. But that is a lesson that, well, you'll learn.
Yeah, Domhnall has the look of polite disagreement that he's gonna keep silent, but it's obvious on his face.
Under the disagreement. I think you can see that on his way as well. It's like, you're not in the wrong, but you're not right either. And he sort of nods and then proceeds to leave. And Lambert's just there. It's like, well, shit.
Yeah, do you have a safe place of your own to lay low?
Yeah, do have a little bit of a room. Just
Okay.
Not really close here. Do we still have the cart?
We should, unless someone's appropriated it in the meantime.
Okay,
Listen, I'll I'll help you hunt and I'll drop you in the general vicinity so you can make your way home. If that's cool.
Just don't worry about it. Just bring me the fuck there. Shit. Just. You can see him struggling essentially. I'm proper fucked. All right. So don't go hunting without me. Just, you know.
I mean, I doubt most gangrel would have heightened senses of the kind that the ruling clan of the city enjoys, so I can probably just hide from them in the shadows if it came to that.
Oh yeah, there was that thing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
All right.
Hey. You wanna see something creepy? I'm gonna turn away from him, and I'm gonna put on an approximation of Mylis's face and turn around.
Okay. Roll for it just to see how accurate it can be.
That is manipulation performance, I think it was 7?
7 should be.
Okay. It looks absolutely hideous.
Hold up. I think there was something special about the badge. Let me just see. Mask. Oh no, it doesn't actually say the success charge. Should vampire? All right, it doesn't say anything, but it's a botch, so I'm gonna take that. So as you sort of go real quick, turn around, Lambert sort of trying to get up from the chair, just sort of looks at you, just goes like, "What the?" And he starts like falling over the chair. It's like doom his. It's like.
Yeah, I tried to rush forward to catch him, so it's probably really fucking creepy.
Yeah, he's pushed you like almost instinctively, like with all of his strength. You think he might have even used potence because you're seeing a small little crack as he sort of pushed back hard, and he stumbles. Oh, what the fuck did you do to you? You look like an Nosferatu.
Oh
What the
shit!
fuck?
I was going for Mylis.
No, that just makes it worse.
I'm gonna
stop
try and
that.
dismiss it.
Yeah, you turn around like 360 dismiss. It's like.
I mean, usually
That's
I
better.
can fake someone else's face up pretty good, at least close up.
Yeah. Don't.
I'm sorry. It doesn't work. Like, one time out of every 100 it fucks up somehow.
You did the math on it?
No?
Just.
It doesn't happen too often, so that sounds about right.
He wants to laugh at the same time, but he's also like scooped and like hurt.
Yeah.
Alright.
Just
Just,
offer him a
let's
hand
go.
and pull him up.
Yeah. So you get on the cart eventually and put him back. Francis has seemingly left the vicinity. And you escort him. He's a bit away off. He's about downer in the city essentially.
Mm.
And you escort him at the place. He's just like, that's the place. And you can see it. It feels like it's a small little, like, it's a 2-story house, actually. And he's like, I'm up there. And you look up, it's like, you see what could be described as the smallest, like a very small window. It's like, that's the attic, isn't it? Yes, I live in the attic. Don't worry, nobody should be here right now.
I mean, hey, it's, I have a shack. So, you're... no judgment here. You're doing fine.
Yeah. Anyways, I can make my way up the
You
stairs.
sure?
Yep.
I can stop by tomorrow if you need help hunting.
I mean, let me try on my own first. Feels kind of. You already helped me plenty enough.
Hey, listen, I feel kinda guilty. Like, they came after me, you got caught in the middle, I won't help.
Sure, I'll take you up on the offer. And yeah, eventually, as sort of he gets off the cart, thinks he's like, well, sort of puts out a hand forward.
Yep, take it.
Was good working with you. Sort of shakes on it.
Likewise.
It's pretty rough, pretty things, but it's earnest. And he sort of just opens the door, it creaks a little bit, and as you look out, there's no light in there. This seems to be a sort of abandoned or recently abandoned, considering the outside is just a little bit well kept and stuff. And one more goodbye, and the door closes.
Okay.
And yeah.
Make sure the skin gets to Tanner ASAP, and start making the arrangements to turn it into a proper cloak.
Hell yeah. Okay. Roll me contacts rating just to see if anybody's fucking alive at this time of night. If you can even find a tanner.
I mean, you have the one dude that we were going in the middle of the night before who did skins.
Yeah, but he was a seller, to be specifically, not actually a tanner himself.
Ah, well.
He likes to buy skins so he can sell them to tanners and butchers, where you can see for a good price. You know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy that doesn't fucking sleep. It's almost like it's day.
Mm-hmm. Like, the plan for this is... It's not an everyday cloak. I want this to be good enough to wear to Elysium. I'm willing to spend the coins that I didn't hide from the bearskins on this, if that is enough.
It'll definitely be enough. Working it through. The bigger question is, do you want it just to be looking more fancy, or do you want it to actually have some usefulness? For example, since it is a pelt, you could modify it a little bit with some additional leather here and there to make it even more like a one-dot armor, essentially, for your back or something.
I don't want to use it as armor. That would mean damaging it, but I'm going for that, wolf around his shoulders, barbarian cheek,
Yeah,
that...
Got it.
Make it clear that I'm a fucking huntsman as well.
All right, then. So, in that case, that's basically your night for just unless there's something that you want to do.
Other
how are
than
you
that, just hunting.
Hunting? Okay. How would you approach hunting usually?
Find drunks, tell them stories, or sing songs in taverns, and find an appropriate moment to chomp down.
Okay.
That's
going to drunkards and things. I think that would be charisma performance. I believe would be a good role in this case.
Ah, excellent! My strongest roll.
Nice.
Difficulty?
Difficulty usually is a base of 8. What do you have in terms of disciplines?
Auspex and Orasight and changing my face. Oh, also I have passion from dementation to decrease emotions.
Yeah, to make it a little bit easier.
I don't use presence because that causes blood, but everything else, it's on the
yeah,
table.
Auspice would definitely help. Dementation obviously help. At the end, if you would call it like -1, just roll me out of 4 then. So that should be 3 people that you're eventually able to find. 1, 3, and 5. Yes. Do you have any specialties that might apply?
Specialties. I have
Stirring
witty
speeches.
and stirring speeches.
Stirring speeches might not work the best here, but witty definitely would.
Okay, so I can just take 2 from each and refill. I
think. Drunkards love a good joke, like a good joke, like a thing, especially if it's
These
very
are my
amusing.
people. It's almost like they're honorary Irish in this state.
Yep. Wow. Nah, if I really wanted to be a bat, I would just be like, hey, roll a death die to see if one of them has the plague or something. That's the real medieval experience right there, but no. Might happen on a botch, though. So, you eat up. How much are you taking? 2 each, or
2 each? That's enough to fill me up to full.
Perfect. And Nyaxi, I believe you wanted to hunt as well after leaving.
Yes.
How would you want to hunt?
Appearance, subterfuge for seduction.
Sure, go for it. Look good. And be that little bit of manipulative fuckboy that you are. Sure, go for it. But the question is, where are you going to do it, Nyaxi? Where are you going to find willing women or men that will want to do your boy Putzi?
Some of us people are still up, I guess.
You have resources. This is a city in the medieval times. Do the math.
Hey, that's
Yeah, there's a plenty of things that there's a nightlife. There's still a bunch of taverns, inns, brothels. Fucking, you can find stuff. Obviously, you can also, if you want, find the random prostitute essentially on the corner. Every city has them.
Hey, baby, wanna buy a date?
I want to make that into a saying that Venice has a hooker on every corner, but let's not. That might be Florence.
No, Venice was famous for hookers right after the
Oh yeah,
plague.
courtesans. Yeah, definitely. But no, these are street hookers. Those were professional hookers. So yeah, go for it. What do you have that might assist you essentially?
Crescent 6.
Just roll a 4. I think shit, I can't remember. Was I think 4 is the minimum difficulty in this in Dark Age, not 3.
How many is that?
Bitch ass. You were filled to full. Let's just go with
Okay.
How much blood are you missing even?
I only missed 10.
Miss 10. If you suck 2 from each, that's 5. 1, 3, 5, 7. That's perfect actually. God bless. Yeah, refill to full. So you have a day out in the city.
A day out? Rip.
Night out. So you just sort of go around, just like luscious locks, appearance. The whole anime trope is like, hey baby. And that works in the span of an hour 5 times. Even you're surprised. This is a thirsty day, it seems. And yeah, in the haze, you don't even spend a coin. You show the coin, you present the coin, you get the coin back.
Just pickpocket them while they're dazed from the kiss.
Though that is a question. That is a question. Would you leave money or not?
A little bit.
Okay, a little. Let's.
You need to
Sure,
pay
let's-
for the cold pressed pussy juice.
Ooh.
All right. So she'll leave a little bit. Their price or a little bit extra. How much we going? Or even under if you want. How much you paying for that juice?
I'm honorable, so I pay exactly the right amount.
Fuck you. Okay, but yeah, you're satiated. So, in that case, since we did sort of the important parts for Fuckboy McGee and Mr. on Trial, Treblana, I hear you have to capture somebody, and you only have 125 experience. How are you gonna do it?
Botch incoming.
I mean, for certain, it's actually not unlikely. Well, first off, I will dress in like some sort of dress in a way that it's not easily recognizable that I'm a woman. So as I would do as where to like to go to travel, to avoid like rape and stuff.
Got it.
And then and then wear some like I guess like some sort of like robes with like a hoodie or something.
Gotcha. My question is, you have 1 appearance, right?
No, 2.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't let him take the one that would have reduced it to 0, Demi.
I thought it was 1. My bad. Never mind. With 2 appearance, you might still. I was gonna be like, if you're 1 appearance and this is not a siege on a town where they people assaulted inside, you're pretty safe. But
Whoa.
you also get a +2 to where appearance might matters, bro. Do you want to? You look like if somebody unveils you and sees you, I think the first reaction is not, wow, it's a woman. Wow, it's syphilis.
Oof.
So don't worry about it. But sure, let's go with that.
But yeah, then I will take like a large chunk of my money,
Mm-hmm.
probably a lot for this month, and simply go out and look for uh, where the hookers are essentially, and just and then when once I'm there, just activate like all specs to look
Yeah.
for unhappy people.
1 second.
Oof. Once again, as he's gone.
Right at the moments of greatest tension, too.
Yeah, I know. Like this is like prime demo territory, describing hookers.
Yeah, it really is, huh? I mean, he doesn't even know the full measure of the cold pressed pussy juice, right? He's just
I
laughing
return.
because he likes the term.
Okay, so question then, Redimir. So you're going for some local hookers?
Yeah.
Oh, not rats this time. Okay. Um,
Well,
how would you like?
I need
How would you like to hunt then?
no, it's not hunting.
Just literally paying them.
Paying them to go to like a more private place. Also another thing I want to ask: does the place of the grandsire have like more private access? Like a place where the servants go through and stuff like that.
Um, there would be. Yeah, there's a main entrance and there's like sort of a side entrance in this case. What are you thinking about? Oh, for that, yeah, never mind. Yes, there is. Essentially, don't have to worry about that. Okay. So I'm gonna do an interesting role here, okay? And don't get me wrong on this one. I need you to roll me charisma resources. And
Ooh,
I'm
like
I'm gonna be a generous god because you have a plus. Because here's the thing, it's one thing. Here's the thing. There's still that human bit of people want to people, right? And they choose clients. Usually not a bit. Beggars aren't choosers, and that does case. Obviously, a lot of hookers do it. Problem is, one, homosexuality is a sin, and that's pretty preached by the fucking
But he
place.
has animalism,
And
Demi, and hookers aren't people.
oof.
and you have a +2 difficulty. So with the money, and I'll say auspice, applies to a part, and obfuscate as well to help you, go around and find perfect people and stuff. I'll let you roll charisma resources and be a generous god, and let you roll at a 7.
Wow. Well, I will be spending a willpower on that since success is important since I'm blood bonded to her.
Yeah, because that's the problem. You see.
Oof. Well, still a success.
Okay. So you go around sometime, right? Sort of veil cloak, money hearing. You approach one of them. Like you can notice it. You look in, perfect. Smell doesn't seem wrong, seems everything's all right. You come up and says, in your voice, you say, "Hey, wanna?" And you sort of chink your money. She sort of hears the female voice that just goes, "No, honey." And this happens, and there's like some people are just like, I don't go that way, or that's kind of a sin, and some people are just like, okay, sure, like I don't mind. Then you unveil yourself and it's like, never mind. There's eventually, though, you find one that seems to be sort of on end, like barely meeting ends meet, pretty disheveled at this point, kind of tattered sort of clothing, literally just waiting a little bit there, slightly slender, not even like the prettiest girl in the world, right? Not even close. You present yourself, show the money. It's like sure, this thing is like, and she's like, how much you willing to pay? 10 coins is my going rate.
I said, deal.
It's like the Bloodlines hooker dialogue in reverse. For you, honey, 100 American dollars as opposed to 50.
Oof.
Do you have Streetwise?
No, because that's not a thing.
Shit, my bad. Yeah, no, my bad. What would be
Isn't
appropriate
it
in this?
Ledger Domain and Dark
It
Ageless?
kind of ends up being like a mixture of ledger domain and pickpocketing. It's kind of like a both thing. Do you have a ledger domain then? Sorry, Discord broke. What did you say?
Yes, I do.
Okay, give me an intelligence ledger domain. Difficulty 6.
I'm still gonna spend a willpower on that.
Okay. Any specialties?
Book knowledge, but
This would not be book knowledge. So that's 3 successes. You've at times had to ask around, do a little bit of pretending here and there, and obviously some street knowledge, asking around in your travels and things. And well, 10 coin is not a lot, but it's more than the rate by about maybe 2 coins. The usual is like 6 to 8. This is 10, so you're slightly being scammed.
I mean that's fine. I don't know what she's thinking, but consider all things considered, I'm not surprised.
You might
So
have had better luck pretending to be a hooker and fishing for a serial killer.
she sort of then says like sort of puts out her hand, waiting for the money seemingly.
Yeah, well, I will give you 2 up front, and the rest when we're done.
She nods. That's sure. She give the gold. She takes it. She puts it like quickly into something. She sort of looks around, comes up to you actually kind of surprisingly, puts your cloak back on, says, "Follow me," and you go into essentially a little bit of like a dead end alleyway, essentially nowhere. It's pretty dark, but your eyes have adjusted at this point, and seemingly hers as well. It says, "So who's doing who?"
Well, I was actually thinking going back to my place. I have some special things there.
Oh,
Holy shit.
is it far away?
Oh my.
Probably. Is it actually far away? The mansion.
It's on the right side, and I think you placed yours, Haven, somewhere sort of essentially on the leftish side. So it's past the bridge essentially, but you'd
Then
probably be hunting in, you know, dishes area. So it's not. It's maybe like 10, 15 minutes of like walking, maybe 20 if you're having somebody else.
let's just say like around like I don't know. Would I actually know what 10 minutes are? Give it like the medieval equivalent of like 10 minutes, roughly.
Sure. And she's like,
So the other side of the river.
all right.
But I want to be a bit discreet about it, so I would like to take like the back entrance.
She sort of nods and puts sort of her cloak. She like, sort of a little hood as well. It doesn't fully conceal the face. It's not like secret of yours, but sort of does a little bit of the work and follows suits. Yeah. So you're leading her to your grandsire's mansion, right?
Yeah. I believe that the city is pretty unlit, right?
Yeah, pretty much
Yeah.
is. And as sort of approach the place, right? She's just like, "Whoa, is this yours? Are you a noble?"
Shh. No
Sure,
worries.
honey. Push inside.
She sort of almost like shuts up and just sort of bows real quickly at sort of your presence, and you can feel there's a little bit of a relief, almost like a little bit of excitement. It's like, oh my god, a noble picked me. This is my lucky day. And you drag her through the side entrance, right?
Yeah. And like before I go in, I tell I might have not. I've not been entirely honest. It's not myself, but so someone I work for.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
But
That give me a manipulation empathy roll.
sure, why not?
Difficulty 5. She still thinks you're like a noble, and you do have the money to prove it.
Yeah. Let's go. Shit, I need to spend another willpower on this, but whatever. I'm doing it. All right.
All right. She sort of bows again while sort of like holding your hand as you're sort of dragging her. It's like, that's no problem, no problem.
Has anyone ever told you that you suck at abducting and killing hookers?
No, I just want to make sure that she isn't like oh shit, I'm in. There's another woman. This doesn't seem right.
She
It's all about discretion.
bows down, sort of playing on her. It's like, that doesn't matter. I'll try my best. Where is this somebody then?
Right inside, and then just follow me.
All right.
And
So
walk to the back entrance, and
okay, you go through the back entrance. There seems to be the guard in front and things, and there does seem to be, as you're going through the back entrance, it almost feels as if the place is made to be less servant heavy all of a sudden. This night. What the fuck is this? I thought No, Chris.
Did you block us posting pictures, you cuck?
No, you posted pictures. What the fuck?
It's not showing for me.
Sent how the fuck? Anyways, there seems to be, besides the guards out front, it seems to be quite empty inside, almost as if something's prepared. And so I presume you're bringing her downstairs to your grandsire?
I would probably like shout out first, in a moderate voice and say, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be as non-descriptive as possible.
All right.
Like wait a bit for like I don't know servants to show up for a second, and if not, then I will proceed down.
Mm-hmm. So eventually a servant does arrive from downstairs. In fact, that entrance essentially coming up, and it's like sort of looks in, bows. She is waiting.
Very well.
And he stands to the side, and you can see on the low burger, just like she's a bit like confidence boosted. It's like, I've been entrusted with this task. I am I am gonna get rich today. I'm gonna get friends in high places. A noble picked me. Proud, strong, and standing tall. And you lead
Shrink
her
the brick,
down.
son. Finish it.
No.
The faster we rise, the faster we fall, right?
Tonight we feast.
Why are you like this?
A man's got to eat, Demi.
Okay. And you drag her down, and she comes into this area, and she's bewildered. It's like, I've never seen this before. There's like a little bit of awe on her face, and as she opens up and things, and you drag her, and the mistress is sort of standing there, sort of slightly leaned on. It's like, you've returned, and I see you've brought company.
Yes, as instructed. And I'll make a bow.
She looks at him. My, you're quite cute, wouldn't you say? She sort of looks at the mistress and feels, she can sort of feels like there's a sort of not recognition, but there's a sort of like a similarity, like even worse than you. And but she sort of says, like, she tries to do like a, like a really bad curtsy sense, not curtsy, curtsy, trying to do it like, madam, come here, child. She sort of strains up back, a little bit confused at that word, and seeing as your grandson is actually pretty decently young looking, actually. And she steps forward, and your grandsire just sort of goes onto her cheek and things. Yes, this will do. And she gets sort of a little bit angsty, like she can feel like the tension almost being. Jablana, open up the second drawer next to you.
I do as I instructed.
A perfectly weighed half brick.
No, there seems to be it's kind of like a mixture. There seems to be a little bit of like tied rope and shackles on one end. Chain her. And she sort of you can just hear she's like surprised and things, and that little caress on the very chin turns into a fucking choke right there and then, like holding her neck so she doesn't.
Oh, she's
move.
learning about all kinds of things the nobles like. Should have asked for more coins.
I'm just forming the word toys with my mouth as I approach her.
Oh.
I mean, I promised her that.
So, sorry. You're taking multiple and like toying around them.
No. I'm just moving as I move towards her, and then I form the word toys with my mouth so she can see, can guess what's going on. Give her like the hints that play in this whole kinky thing essentially.
All right.
See, it's not losing your virginity if you take up the ass, Demi. It's perfectly fine.
Give me just to see how well can this go. Give me an appearance subterfuge roll.
Why are you like this?
Base would be
willpower.
Base would be 6. You don't have to spend willpower on this one, fam. You don't. So this is more of a you thing.
Okay.
The sire is watching.
No. I said base would be 6. You didn't let me finish. Base would be 6, but since this is appearance based, you get a +2, my guy.
Damn it! Wait.
Bro.
All right, let me reroll then. Damn it.
Yeah, no, you go a little bit. It's like that, and she's not any easier. And she goes, madam. As she's sort of being choked, and like you can see her put a shh.
Go to sleep.
And as you shackle her, essentially. Oh god, this is getting even kinky for me. What the fuck? Shut the fuck, you guys. Sorry, let me just so I can properly do this. Where'd that bitch be? Yes, here she is. Okay. Oh yeah, it's all coming together now. She holds there the things and sort of just goes closer to the ear. It's like sleep. And I'm going to roll for that. Okay. So it doesn't take long, as sort of she says that, and looking over here, you eventually see her as you're sort of putting and holding her there as well, sort of loosen up and sort of go to sleep. But she seems to be fighting it, almost as if there's a little bit of that problem in her, like that there's danger. But she eventually succumbs to the powerful use of dominate, essentially. And you have a subject there. And your sire sort of just like, grandsire sort of just like uh, slowly puts her down onto the floor, essentially, holding her there and just going back to you up here. Where did you find a cute one like her? And why a cute one?
Well, I simply decided to go for the easiest route and pay someone to come with me.
Fair enough. Well,
I personally enjoy books much more these days, but I certainly know that some people enjoy the pleasure of the flesh.
well, I usually wouldn't be putting these tasks up to you. You haven't met her yet. I do have a Lamia retainer that is currently out and about doing a similar business as you. She would have been the ideal one for this. But thank you, Trablana. Please help me pet her up so she's not cold on this brick down here.
Of course.
And you lift her up essentially with pretty fucking easily. She's not heavy at all. And sort of just plop her on one of the tables. So, well, she's going to be asleep for a while. Let's properly chain her up and, well, prepare the ingredients. Shall we?
Of course, and just get started.
Nods. And yeah, you start essentially on sort of the on the table, which was made empty essentially. Sort of just chain her down there. It is she won't be getting out of there. And she's like, unless she's like surprisingly somehow a Bruja with a bunch of strength, she's chained the fuck down and not moving. And she looks, all right. Get the scissors first of all. Since we'll have to be seeing about the effects that these ingredients might have on the body and mind, we're going to have to see and look for any changes in physicality and mentality. So, cut her clothes open. She must be stripped bare.
Let me just double check that I have set this channel to mature. Just a belated disclaimer. Demi is a sick fuck and we're playing World of Darkness, so viewer discretion is advised.
I'm not a sick fuck. This is exactly what happens in fucking.
Just start cutting like right from the red neck down to like towards the belly, slowly and carefully take off the clothes.
Yeah, it's
I
not
know,
that
maybe.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, finish. I thought you were finished there.
Yeah, and then get over to the, I guess, pants and like start cutting there slowly.
Slowly but surely, Radomir wins the game.
Yes, exactly.
So
You like real careful.
you do that. Just like similar in face features and what you believed. Nothing spectacular, but we're not going to go into details in that. But she is laid bare there, and Tribulana goes. Tribulana, there. Open that door. Second shelf, third from the right. There should be the quite a large bone, essentially. You'll recognize it from being part of the arm. Please retrieve it.
Look at the right one first, and
Mhm.
then
You take the
you
bone.
go.
You bring back. It's definitely a hefty bone. A hefty bone. It's like about this big and things. And even though it's like it's not just the pure bone, there seems to be a little bit of like small little not bone fragments or bone pieces that are like lined around or near the joints or stuff. There's like small little bits and pieces still there, right? That are like crucial, but not the main thing. She puts it. You bring it to her. She puts it down. Now tell me, what do you believe here is what the author refers to as the funny bone?
Oof, that's a that's a mean question, Demi, because I haven't I haven't read the book out of character.
That's why she's asking you a question.
I could. God damn it.
What do you say, Radomir?
Twitch chat
Oh,
is
just
concerned that you're gonna insert the bone.
we're not on. Oh God, no. I mean, actually,
No, Radomir. This is not part of the plan.
But wait, it's improvising. It's just an idea. I mean, if it doesn't work, then we can still try another way.
What do you say to what she said? What do you
Well,
believe?
I would just point to like my elbow, and this right here could be the funny bone. This depending on like maybe a bit maybe a bit on the other side here. Like go around the arm essentially. The author wasn't exactly clear on that, but somewhere here.
Yes, from both, well, what the author describes and I suppose a little bit of folklore, I believe that is indeed correct, located at the elbow, mostly called for funny bone, for a very questionable reason. Being that when you hurt yourself in a specific way on the elbow, there seems to be a reaction
A
that is
funny
quite
reaction.
unique. Some perhaps have described this as funny, though I wouldn't believe so. But we have it here. So, I'd like to ask you, Tribana, since we have the material, we have the specimen, and last time I led the research, you tonight, will lead the research. So, what is the first thing you should do? I will assist, of course.
Well, first we should decide. Well, I should decide on the different test methods. I believe testing out a few different approaches should be taken this time. to diversify the potential results and to root out any potential for mistakes or coincidences. Since you already conducted this, I think this would be for the best. Since
Indeed.
yeah. So first off, we're gonna verify once again by a regular ingestion.
All right.
Of course, watching her aura to look for any signs of changes, and of course, another pair of eyes is is very helpful in that, just in case one or the other misses something.
Of course.
Then we should maybe try applying this funny bone to the skin, perhaps, or in like different areas of the body, and see when it reacts. And lastly, we should maybe try inserting the bone and see if that does anything. Maybe not just this bone, but maybe other bones as well.
She sort of lifts one eyebrow. Inserting it where exactly?
No! Redimer, please!
He brought this upon him.
Well, I believe.
Three calls, Redimer. Choose wisely.
Well, since we already tried ingestion, that would already make
To
would
note
remove
something
yeah.
out of character. The ingestion part, what you tested it on was with the skull part, not actually with the funny bone.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I think we should try all of them in succession.
Ingestion might require some grinding of the bone, but, well, we don't want to contaminate the bone either. It's a fresh specimen. Very well. Please, I am your assistant for tonight. Tell me what I must do. I wish to learn.
Do we consider it a win or a loss if the sire is weirded out and throws up at the end of your experiment?
Sorry, I have to do this. My demeanor is creep show.
Why are you like
this character was crafted with with a lot of things in mind.
Knowledge being one of them. Okay. Since this will be going through some various experiments, you have the choice. Since this will also be looking on a little bit in this part and going through more detailed examinations, you have a choice. One is going to do one, the other is going to do the other. Well, that being, one person has to do like essentially an intelligence medicine check, and one has to do an intelligence occult check. Which one do you want to do? And she will assist and provide essentially successes. Basically, this is assisted help. But you're the one taking charge in this case.
I'm gonna do the occult roll myself since I'm specialized in magical research.
Okay, she'll take upon the medicine roll then. Okay. Go for it. This would be. Huh. Give me it at. I'm gonna actually say, give it to me at difficulty 5, actually, because of all the equipment around. It would be a higher base difficulty since you're looking for minute changes and stuff like that. But with all the research and equipment and everything you have available, should be easier.
All right.
5, 6. So 6 successes. Okay. Time to roll hers. Same difficulty. Okay. So you, sadly though, that is an uneven number, but you would be able to get another 2 successes. So that is 8 successes in total. Nice. So
Yay.
you take upon the research. You start first grinding the bone, working around it, adding, just enough so that the bone isn't too damaged, putting it here and there so that's an equal size, getting enough material, mixing with this, mixing with that, to check all, and eventually, obviously, you have to wake the girl up. And the sire just says, awake, once again in her ear, essentially, as the woman awakes and starts sort of just looking around and trying to yell, where she just essentially tells her, please be silent. And using dominate essentially again, she's being silent, but she is distressed to fuck. And you start ingesting this. She tries to first spit it out before, obviously some harm is done. This goes on for hours. Trying this, trying that, seeing, aura, checking result, checking pulse, checking everything. Pulse obviously is abnormal. Why? Because she's in danger. and the heart is going really fast. Aura seems to, you're looking for those little smidgens of fuck. What aura was humor or happiness in a sense? Was it yellow? Oh god, it's raining again. I want to die.
You
Oof.
gotta check in the hot specs.
Desirous, excited would be violet. That would be one of them. Vermilion, happy. Yellow is idealistic. So yeah, either excited or unhappy. So you're looking for violet and vermilion. Wow, guys, we're playing with colors now. You look for that, but the only thing you see is orange for afraid. A slight little bit of red and brown for angry and bitter. Black, you feel the small smidgens of hateful after a few attempts of going on and on. Nothing good. That's what I'm gonna tell you. Okay. Eventually, the ingestion experiments end. What's the next one, Redimir? But ingestion passes through, but no such changes. Nothing seems to work.
No, well, time to apply it to the skin. It puts the lotion on its skin.
So how do you exactly do? You just like press the bone on her and just slowly go down, or just like rubbing on it? Like, what are you doing?
Well, first off, I will try, like just rubbing the bone itself, since that probably doesn't do damage to it, most
Mhm.
likely. And then, if that doesn't help, then I will probably switch over to like a, grinding to like a powder and like applying it.
All right. You try some of those various things. Trying to touch her with places at the bone, rubbing, stuffing things. You start getting actually a change in colors. It's not like if you're touching like the sides or like under the armpit, she actually very weirdly has the color of she actually very slightly has the violet color, to which that's quickly fucked because you're tickling her essentially to a small degree where she's slightly holding it back, but her body can feel it.
You need more data. Inject a fuck ton of bone dust into her armpits.
Oof. Well, I would just, like, put the bone aside for a second and then switch over to like anything else, a stick or something.
All right, you have that easily at
And,
hand.
yeah, and try again with that and see if that does anything, just the same thing.
slightly less, similar results. Though with those amount of successes, you calculate that that's not because it's the bone is working more, but probably because she's getting used to it. So that's a no-go.
Yeah, probably like disappointed look on my face already.
It's time to insert
No,
the
no,
bone redeemer.
no, no.
You're out of options.
You're out of options.
Hold on,
Okay.
hold on. I'm waiting up to that. Just ominously mutter under my breath. No, that won't do at all.
No. By the way, it's thundering outside, so all I can say is that God is gonna smite me down whenever he has the chance to do so.
Well, the window isn't open. You richly deserve it.
Understandable. Oh yeah, shit. I just realized I never changed to the real Golconda. Continue, Redimir. Please explain to the stream why you're doing this.
Yes, please explain to the stream why you are pervert and degenerate.
Also to the Twitch staff, will be monitoring the report.
Weren't we hosted? Weren't you trying to impress some new people? What
But
happened,
they were
guys?
if they hosted us after the first session, then we ran for a second time. I think we're good.
We're done with the host kids.
Oof. But yeah, all right.
They're
Time to
still
go.
hosting us. I hope they don't get any blowback from this.
We need to dig deeper. I don't know. No, not the sire. We need to reposition her. I need access to her rear.
Flip her over.
So
It's gotta be the most successful.
There needs to be a strength athletics roll to assume the position, Debbie. There has to be.
you're saying rear. I feel like I know which one you want to do, but just to affirm,
Just call them number 1 and number 2, Debbie. Still
yes, let's go number 1 or number 2.
Well,
Number
first,
1 being the.
we're gonna take number 2.
Of course, he goes in number 2. Okay, it's Wow, I actually have the story to fill this out.
No, you don't.
Welcome
You
to being unmodesty. This is about how I felt when Bacon tried to feed a child to his parents.
Okay, so you go for it. It's after a bit of, let's say, exercise, right? It's eventually able to find its way in, and yes, you can feel a little bit of various auras actually at play now, swirling and fuckery. Let me count them out: orange,
Well,
purple,
but
red, brown, deep red, light green, violet, black, silver.
If this was new VOD,
Yeah.
changelings could feast on that shit.
There's a culmination of a little bit of everything.
well, I would of course, be very careful as to not push her over the edge, because I need to like try out, other objects as well to compare them.
Understandable. Okay, you're trying something
This
else.
is the scientific method.
Similar results, Redimir. Doesn't seem like there's anything else. The only thing you've accomplished is you've sullied both the stream, my storytelling ability, and the bone.
And the bone.
Just give her another 20 coins and tell her you expect her in another week when she's recovered. I mean, she wanted a steady gig, right?
Yeah. Well, I look at my grandsire. Not. It doesn't look good right now. Not good at all, does it?
Indeed, it seems the experiment seems to be a failure. Though, I didn't have high hopes either. But I believe this was some good bonding time. We can try something else from the book, but I believe that the results will be quite similar. But it will be one for the shelves, that's for sure.
Demi, I have a question.
Go for it.
Oh no.
How much money do I have left over? I only resources one, so I assume like 20 those 10 coins are probably a lot for me. Right?
Not exactly that low. You'd probably looking around the range of that you can carry on yourself. Like about maybe, oh, I suppose a lot because it is like 1/5. So yeah, about 50 coins that you can sort of snugly have with you at your pocket.
Oh, and I meant more like in the sense that, I'm poor.
Oh yeah, trust me. Even having zero resources, technically beggars can still find coin. So you're not necessarily that fucked, but you don't have enough to obviously flaunt. It's much more for, in your case, necessities. What you can easily, something that you can quite easily get with money. Like Chris, for example, was able to, for some time, rent a cart and even a
Oh,
donkey. So
I have
it's not like
resources
necessary.
though.
Resources one, right?
Yeah, but I was also supplementing it with.
Supplementing it a little bit, but don't worry about it. Essentially, it's not terribly low. It's just 10 gold for a quick shag is a little bit on the scammy side.
Yeah, okay. Well, then, I think actually needs some retainers, to be honest. So what I'm thinking right now is to like feed her blood and have her like be I don't know, my face essentially, and my ears on the street. What would can I like make like a drink for her? After like unchain her and say, we appreciate your discretion, and like put like 2 extra coins in. I'll go to 12. I would like you to come again. Well, I will actually pick you up at a Tetela meeting place. Be there tomorrow night. To tell like an early time when I can make it, and we will discuss further things there.
Redamar, the first drink only reinforces, I think, the way she already feels about you.
Well, yeah. That's why I'm putting in the extra money.
2 coins for sticking a up her.
I mean, she knew that there was no penis involved.
Listen, do you know how large those bones are?
Okay.
To be fair, they can still go in because in regular stuff, there's also flesh around usually.
Demi,
So
no! She's probably... No! This isn't an LA porn star, Demi! This is
okay.
It's not that level of skill, Demi! It's just not...
That's why I said exercise was required, and there was...
If you have to work your elbow to get it in, it probably hurt like hell, Demi! What are you talking about?
I didn't want to describe it.
But
you said exercise!
I did...
Yeah.
What do you want? Okay. Do you want? Okay, sure. Let's use the proper term. You fucking fisted her.
Okay,
for someone who's not used to exploiting the number 2 hole, that probably hurt like a motherfucker.
Yes, it did. I just didn't want to go gruesome into it because this is a Twitch friendly stream.
Wow! You falsified. The result.
Now it's Twitch friendly, is it?
Is that what you want to hear, you sluts? Is that what it is?
Okay.
you wanna hear the squeals of pain, you sadistic fucks.
Okay. So if I heard her, then I'm gonna put like more coins, I suppose. But
Yes.
I was under the assumption that since you didn't say it was painful and I was
She was
monitoring.
dominated to be silent, Redemer!
I mean, we were monitoring the aura.
It
I
was
did
going up
mention-
like a torch!
Yeah, it was going up. Don't worry about it, Redimir. Just know. Okay, let's use this via personal experiences, Redimir. You've never done that before, and somebody all of a sudden does. What do?
Someone takes a amputated and clean fucking arm bone and puts it where God did not intend things to enter. What do? How butthurt are you? How many coins
Nah.
is that worth?
It depends on the fucking person now at this point. What I'm trying to think of is what kind of social role do I make you roll so that she might do something?
Who fucking accepts after all this happened? I mean,
I mean,
she might
that's-
just
She
accept,
might
but
as
she's
well
afraid
take the
of her
money,
life.
because if she doesn't, the nobles might just kill her and get rid of her. She's just a peasant.
You know what? This was a very
But-
scary procedure. And you're trying to give me a charisma intimidation. This would be at. Yeah, you know what? That makes sense at this point. What happened and being looked through. Give it to me at a 9.
Wow, that's for the willpower, you nigga.
Hold up, you can't use that word!
Well, it's not a fail. It's I mean it's not a botch. I mean, but
Are
she
willpower successes uncancelable in this edition? Or in this, in Dark Ages?
oh, for fuck's sake, gotta check that up for time being. Um. Shit, what fucking page is it now? God damn it! Why do so many things use willpower? God damn it on disciplines. I hate this. Fuck it. For the time being, don't worry. We're only getting to the end, so after we check that Redimir, we can change the result after the session. Okay? For the time being, though, just for the sake of brevity, we're gonna go with the idea that it's just a 0. Okay? No botch, but it's a fail.
Yeah, but
We can change
I
that.
would. But I would follow her like afterwards with like obfuscate, since I wouldn't want to endanger my grandsire.
Don't worry. But yeah, you give her the money. She looks at the money and is like, "Damn!" But at the same time, she's extremely hurt and things. She sort of whimpers and is not communicative, hurting around. Sort of takes up the tatters of her clothes and sort of just tries to yoink out of there as fast as possible. The grandsire, if you let that happen, unless you're trying to stop something, the grandsire would be like, "So you've left. Interesting choice."
Well,
It's
I will
a-
I will just follow her.
It's a one
Get
success.
get
It can be cancelled by once.
Which guarantees?
What?
Success cannot be cancelled by one. So that is a success then. Okay, even with one success, that's pretty much the way she's gonna exit, but the outcome will be a bit different.
Yeah, but
So she's
I
getting out
will,
of there.
yeah, but I will like follow her with like a bit of distance, and activate obfuscate and like monitor her for a bit, so I'm sure
Alright.
she doesn't go nuts.
As you're about to leave, your grandsire just says, "I'll see you at the party, Jablana." And you scamper up and go. It's not difficult to follow her, mostly because she's kind of naked, so she's trying to stay where it's not seen, and if anybody's passing, just huddle up and stuff like that. She's going really slow, but she's distressed. You can still feel that, even using the Auspex 2 if you want at some points and things. But you eventually follow her back to the place, and you finally arrive where, after like maybe even like an hour, even an hour and a half, like going slowly over this, you eventually arrive to what is basically just a really slightly run down house, one floor. Nothing seems to be lit inside, as she sort of just goes in really fast and closes the door. Seems like there weren't that many people at this night, a time of the night, after all the experimentation, the like, and staying as much as to the shadows as possible, and what was most likely one of the most gut wrenching and willpower consuming fucking event in her life. She's keeping it. She's able to successfully come home with no problemo. You're also really close to your house. So, guys, we've successfully accomplished that in a campaign so far.
Remember, you did this.
You did this.
No, you did this. You brought in the
I-
funny bone.
You did this, Demi. You did this.
Okay. Fuck, people are talking. Just give me 1 second. Craft, are you here?
I am.
Okay, perfect. Are you ready to prepare your funny bone? Hmm? Perfect, Craft. So, I'm just gonna continue as is. Fuck it. Because we're near 11 anyways. So, Craft,
Yeah.
night comes, and you remember that you have a few that you had like a little bit of a favor from your witch friend. Though that's up to you if you want to do it. There's nothing seemingly sort of urgent going on for the time being. However, as you eventually sort of get ready and try and like start your night with some way, you find a letter actually under your door, sort of pushed under into your room.
All right.
And if you pick it up, you see the letter. You turn the letter around and you see a familiar seal, a seal of your sire.
Oh damn. He's coming.
Mm.
All right. So what does the letter say?
The seal isn't broken, and you break open the seal, open it, read the letter, and to paraphrase essentially really quickly, dear Severin, I wish to notify you that I will be arriving for this grandiose party I'm hearing some of the prince, the queens, and king is doing. And I believe that, well, I'll be seeing you soon, my good child. I eagerly wait to see you again. It's been a while.
All right then.
And sort of as a PS there, just sort of added, PS, prepare the best stuff. We're going to town.
All right then. So I have to fucking fix the. How much wine do I even have with me at this point?
I'd say, how much resources do you have?
One.
All things considering, because you are you probably have a bit of sort of a personal stock, essentially. I'd say maybe about a dozen, maybe bottles of your own that you're sort of keeping, essentially, as your stuff. They're all, aged, differently at different times. So it feels kind of like a progression system at the same time. But
Inferior product, older, but because they're older, it's okay.
yeah, the funniest thing, isn't it? But yeah, besides that, you surprisingly have
Nothing I
nothing
have
to
to
do.
do.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
amazing,
I guess we can end the session here. Thanks for waiting, Craft, for like 3 hours for nothing.
Wow. Wow. Fuck you. I'm gonna go get that fucking drunkard. Fuck you.
Sure. So you're looking for a drunkard, eh? How do you want to approach
Yeah.
that?
Like just go to a fucking tavern or something. Fuck. And just find the drunkest guy in there, and then I can like, I have presence and I have dominate, so I could use either one to just get him to come with me, or I could just carry him if he's drunk enough. He won't know. So yeah,
Okay.
it's just find a lonely drunken dude or girl. I don't judge.
Fair enough. Roll me then in that case. Because you want to be a little bit sly about this. Well, depends how you want to go. What would give me like a either a
Perception.
charisma. Well, no, perception
Or
would be
no.
fine. Like it's easy to find drunkards. It's more like the idea of getting them and finding somebody agreeable, right? So give me like a charisma or manipulation plus there's just a lot of ways you can go about this. Either empathy, expression, or even subterfuge. So you choose. The difficulty though will be yeah, roll it at 4 essentially.
I have presence for, so
If you specifically want to use a discipline power, I'm mostly going about this almost like similar to a hunting roll essentially.
oh, I just find a dude and grab him and like walking with him out. Oh yeah, let's do charisma subterfuge then. I guess it doesn't really matter for me
Yep.
because my empathy and subterfuge charisma roll is the same.
Go for it.
Yeah, sadly no tens, so doesn't matter what my specialty is. How many people did you want?
Well, specifically was asked 1, and don't take this wrong, but so you start going in, adding to the fun, it's like haha, and you find so sufficiently some people here and there. You're looking, some people are more angry, some people are just grumpy and like drinking, some people are much more merry and like, oh yeah, those are my people. No, what you don't expect is that you're buttering up this one guy, right? But there seems to be other hearing out nearby, and as you're being cherry and merry, and as you're about to sort of leave, you seem to have like about 2 other drunkards that are sort of like following, like, oh yeah, this is where the party's going now.
Oh, fuckers.
They seem to be drunk, barely standing, barely like moving, going around left or right. And yeah, they're one of those happy drunk people.
I blood buff my strength and dexterity. They're not gonna
Okay.
catch up with me, are they? If I walk like how drunk are they? So drunk that I can just walk quickly and they'll like lose me?
You test that out. They try to speed up, but obviously the more they try to speed up, the more they stumble. So you're thinking that's a pretty safe bet.
Alright, I'm gonna blood buff.
Okay, what are you blood buffing? Chain
My
dexterity?
strength, yeah, 4.
How much?
4.
Okay.
So I plus 3 blood points.
Okay. So what's the go-to plan? You have like the one guy that you feel like is perfect, and 2 like random guys going out singing, like merry songs. You even recognize one of them to be like a war song, but it's like so fucking bad, essentially, because he's mumbling over everything, every one bit of it, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna lose them, with like a dex, I guess. What is it? Dex?
This would be
Or maybe not dex, maybe strength. I don't know.
Nah, because you don't want to. No, strength will essentially help here because you're trying to drag one guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I blood my boost. That's why I
So
increase my strength.
give me like, give me, because you want to be slightly subtle about this. Give me either a Dex subterfuge or Dex performance roll.
All right.
Subterfuge being like, a more subtle way, and performance being like, oh shit, the party's just going too fast, we can't catch up.
Yeah, I'll do the dex subterfuge one.
All right.
Difficulty.
Difficulty would be the strength added, and you're leading a. Actually, just roll it at a 4. Like leading a drunk guy away from multiple drunk people who can barely stand is not a difficult task.
Yeah,
Ooh,
especially when the fucker is especially when I'm super strong and he doesn't like slow me down at all.
Basically.
It's like he can't even resist me, but he doesn't want to resist me anyways.
Nah,
he thinks
he's
we're going to somewhere fun.
yup.
Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah, no problemo. You hear some war songs. You hear one of the war songs, and seemingly one of them being like an ex-soldier or something. You could hear him in the back say like, "Oh fuck, the party's got cavalry."
Rip. Oh well. I just grabbed the guy. I mean, it wasn't that long to her like village, right? Or they had to just go grab a horse and put the guy on.
Nah, you could
After I
have,
lose those.
you could have done it walking as well. No problemo.
Yeah.
It just obviously takes more time. So up to you how you want to do it. It's about, I think was said like an hour and a half walking.
Yeah. Well, then I'll just walk, I guess.
Yeah, no, definitely
There should
easy.
be no
As you're
problem.
walking, there's a point though where the guy eventually gets like tired and basically starts stumbling, and dragging him is like but you keep on putting that charade of happiness and things, and he keeps on falling though. The trip this time takes a little bit longer, right?
Yeah.
Simply because, well, drunk guy. But roll me a luck die. This the Yeah, no. So just to
Try
see like
to
how this is to simply check. Is he like he's intoxicated, right? But this is more of a question like, since he's not drinking really while you're going, like if he's going to intoxicate in the meantime, right?
Yeah.
But
makes
this
sense.
guy seems to be a lightweight, and while he does sort of become more tired as you're going and stuff, he seems to still have drunkenness. It's definitely going to be less than before because it's been some time and walking and sweating a little bit. But
As alcohol. Okay. I think. I don't know.
but
Should probably
yeah,
brought some ale with me. Oh, well.
but you definitely arrive him at the place, and you notice a little bit of like a reflection in his eye, like almost like a child seeing the newest roller coaster in the park, with him seeing all the glowing and rising fungi near her near her house, essentially, as you go in and lead her.
This place is gonna be real fun.
Mm. And as you step in, leading, she sort of looks from above and it's like, Severin, you're back already.
Yeah, it isn't too hard to find
Hmm.
drunkards in a city as big as Paris.
Fair. Well, he's sufficiently drunk, right? Or does
Yeah,
he need a little bit more?
if you have some ale or something, I can make him better. He lost
I have.
some alcohol on the
I
way
have
here.
some. And she sort of goes to a tankard and actually, so she has this like little barrel almost, right? And sort of presses it open, plugs it, and sort of sends it over gently towards you. He's like, "Whoa!"
Take this, bro. This is some real good stuff.
And as you touch the sort of little mug, right? That's in it. It's a little bit cold, actually.
Nice.
And he drinks it. Whoa! goes in for another one, and well, that hit the spot right there, eh?
Why the fuck is he British now, Debbie? For
I've-
fuck's sake.
Shut the fuck up. I'm mixing voices, okay?
Drunk people are
I
bad.
have,
You
I have,
heard it
vo-
here first.
I have voice dyslexia.
Even Irish, dude, and he's drunk. Wow.
But yeah, she goes, um, yeah, put him over there on that chair for the time being. And she sort of points on like the second floor, essentially, of her. People are still calling me on Viber. I fucking hate this life.
Yeah, alright. I'll
Can't
just go
right
play.
now. Yeah, play some shit. And she comes back, plops something open, and it's like she goes to you sort of silently. This will put him to sleep. Don't worry, it shouldn't affect us. It's mostly just what he breathes in. But after this, he'll be drunk and he'll be asleep. And, well, tomorrow or when he wakes up, we can give him something else to, well, jog his memory. Don't worry about it.
Alright.
Here. And she sort of whips it over. Here, have a drink of this, have a drink of this. And he goes like, oh, what the fuck's the... Like, what the fuck is that? It smells horrible. And he sort of quickly falls asleep. It's like kind of magical. Holy shit. And she sort of drives the cork back in a little bit, puts it back, sort of whips it back into a shelter on a shelf, and is like, well, have you been, Severin?
Well, pretty good. We was not. It did not take me long to do this, so
Yeah, you didn't find any difficulties.
nope.
Sorry for this once again, but I think this will bring us closer to any experiments, proper experiments. So, what is it that you said you have to do? Now that he's drunk, all you have to do is now drink from him, correct?
Yeah, I'll just take a sip, take some blood from him, and give it to you.
Yeah.
Because after I ingest it, it gathers this magical quality. Otherwise, normal human blood is just normal human blood. Nothing special about it. Well, it's very special.
Human blood is found many uses throughout alchemy, magic, and hey, for vampires as well.
Yeah.
So it is magical to a degree, just not in the way we think.
Not to
But-
the same. Yeah.
But well, you shouldn't feel anything, so have at it. Out of character, just to note, the more blood you drink, the more you get drunk as well, because there's more alcohol accumulated,
Yeah.
essentially. So
Yeah.
how many blood points are you going for?
Like to like 3, I guess, because that's probably the maximum I can take before he fucking dies.
Yeah, at 3, he's gonna have some issues, be a bit anemic for a while, but you know, with you there and her, should be okie dokie. So go for 3. Now, if I remember right, I think being drunk gave you a -3 on dexterity, and I want to say
Yeah.
-3 on intelligence because you've taken 3 blood points. So just keep that in note when you're doing stuff. Where does that bring you though with the intelligence, if I may ask?
I have 1 intelligence left. It's okay.
Perfect. You're not fully drunk. You can still hold your ground, right? But you're definitely feeling the effects. And after like maybe about 15 minutes of it culminating, essentially, and you know, sort of waiting and
To
talking.
keep not buffing my dex so it doesn't fall below 0.
Now that's a pro gamer move. And yeah, it takes a little bit while, and you know, you're talking, having some small talk with the witch, and she can say, it's like, you can sort of feel the response on her face as you know you're becoming more and more drunk and stuff like that. And eventually you get to a point where you're like, whoa. And it's like, all right, Severin, don't fall asleep if you can. I need you to. Don't. Actually, I don't trust you with a knife right now. Do you mind if I cut a little bit here so that the blood may pour?
I grab the knife and slash.
Ooh, right. You take the knife. She's not resisting. She sort of stands back as you slice.
Quickly
You
catch
start bleeding.
it.
Yeah, you just like start bleeding, and she's like, "Oh no, that's gonna go on my floor." Just yeah, it grabs like some kind of like a mug, essentially a cup or something like that was like the closest to hand I can fill something up, and just like pours it under. Okay, that's a little bit too much. Okay, stop. Can
Crazy
you stop
drunk
it? Can you stop?
person.
Can you
Okay, I
stop?
stop it. I heal it. Probably lethal or some shit. I heal the
Okay.
wound. I mean, do I even take lethal? Maybe I cut it.
Mm,
Should I roll how hard I cut open myself?
Sure. Give me a strength check. It's been some while, so the blood buff would have stopped.
I would
So
keep blood buffing my dex so that it doesn't go below like 1 because I only have 3 decks, so I don't want it to be 0 because then I can't move anymore properly.
fair. So it's your strength plus 1 essentially damage.
All right, so oh, look at that! I can't even cut myself, or I cut myself really hard. I mean, it's damage, so it shouldn't. It should be 0 damage, right?
How I'm gonna go with that
It should be.
is
Yeah.
you go. We're gonna switch it retroactively a little bit, right?
What the
Because that is a fun result. I wasn't expecting -2
Wow!
successes. So
Wow! That's
you
good.
take the knife and go, but you don't feel anything.
Oh, I fucked up. Yeah, and then it starts bleeding. She like looks at me. It's like, what the fuck is he doing?
And it's like, Severin, you're using the blunt side of the knife.
Oh,
Okay.
Just swing hard to
Oh.
cut through the bone craft.
And you swing, and you're like, yeah, I did it. Wait, that hurts a little bit. Ow. And she takes the goblet, pours it, and yeah, you stop that essentially. And essentially goes, all right, sit there.
I lick it, seal the wound, because so it doesn't have to
That's-
spend blood point to heal it. Or did I take actual damage?
I wouldn't call it too much damage. So, sure, give me at least just put in like 1 lethal essentially, because going for a pretty aggressive cut, it would have cut. It's not just small enough for like a lick to go away essentially,
Then I'll just heal
because you went
it.
a little bit aggressive.
Yeah, I'll just heal it then.
And yeah, you sort of just sit there then, unless you want to do something. But she will be focusing on now experimenting, putting in seeing about putting that blood sort of into 3 different cups now, sort of pouring it, sealing it, sort of sealing 2 of them for probably later uses, working around with them, and makes up the broiling essentially of the cauldron again, making that go up, going about the same sort of way about the previously that she did, just to see if that might work. And a bit about an hour later, essentially, she takes a scoop essentially, and sort of like just it's chunky. What do I mean by chunky? So imagine if
Oh
you
yeah,
had
I stopped being drunk, right? Because I expelled the blood points that made me drunk. Isn't that how it works? Isn't that how it works? I don't remember actually.
Same.
I think
We're gonna say
it
that
was.
you're progressive. You're less.
It degrades, I
degrades.
think, by 1 step per hour or something like that. So
yeah.
have fun.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah, still drunk. Don't.
yeah, but an hour passes and you're less drunk and you're sort of not doing anything. And how to explain what this result is? So imagine you had wine. It's pretty liquidy, pretty a little bit watery, right? except that this time the watery part is a little bit light red, so it's not really like imagine like if you layered out strawberry jam, it's that kind of color, right? Except it has blood clots in it, essentially. So try and imagine how that looks. Not pretty.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't think that's the result we want. All right. She pours it back in, cleans the scoop, and essentially sort of like opens the window that was nearby and sort of magically sort of just lifts it, like holding it. You can see her trying to, and just chucking what the fuck the cauldron had throughout the window, place it back in, pours, some water, pours out other things, preps it again. Test number 2. And it's similar, but using a little bit of different ingredients now. Trying to actually seemingly sweeten it up. She's adding a little bit of shit. Didn't ginger exist in Europe even?
I don't know.
Hold up. Did ginger exist in medieval Europe? Seldom found during the Roman period, its use in Europe developed during the Middle Ages. So, ginger was found in 1/4 of all medieval French and English recipes.
There you go.
Fun fact to know, kid. So yeah, try to sort of sweeten up with ginger, putting it like in nice little slices, essentially just pouring it in around here and there, trying to see what she could do about the blood clot, because there's obviously something that's making the blood bad and coalescent, essentially, almost, but it's not really connecting. So she decides this time to put honey in there, seemingly, a little bit gluey, a little bit trying to attempt that. And about after another hour of experimentation and doing sort of a boiling and ritual and talking, she goes for another scoop. This one ends up being something more akin to pudding. Not even pudding, like more like Jello. And she scoops up a part and is like, so that's not a drink, but I need to check. Severin, and she starts walking down with the scoop. She, here's a spoon. Try this. Do you try it?
Yeah, sure. I'll drink some.
You take a bit of the Jello and slurp it in. It goes in fast. It's bitter. That's the first thing that gets you. And after the bitterness, you start at the end of your throat as it sort of dissolves and starts to go in, right? You can feel something smoky? Oh, wait. No, that is technically smoky, but it's also dusty. That's ash. How? You don't know.
What the fuck?
You don't know. And
My
it's like,
God,
that's been a while. And it's like,
I've never tasted ash because eat food merits.
I know.
The
And she
first
takes
time-
out, it's like,
What the fuck?
and she looks at the ground. It's like, is that ash?
Yep.
Yes, it is. See, Craft, you have the eat food merit. What happens if something isn't food, but it isn't declared as food anymore?
But it's old blood. What the fuck? Also, eat food merit is I can put shit in my mouth,
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
But if you what? What?
It's
So if I start nomming on some random ass shit, it will turn to ash.
This is a culmination of magic fuckery plus things that are not supposed to be mixed together plus experimentation. It brought upon an interesting result. You tasted ash, Craft. Congratulations.
Very fucking weird, eh?
Hey. She goes back, puts the rest in. So, Severin, I think that was a no, right?
Yeah, vampires do not appreciate the taste of ash. I don't think anyone appreciates the taste of ash.
Thought so. Window opens, cauldron gets yoed out, except it has to go multiple times and actually shakes it at the very end, essentially because it's jello. So it takes time for it to just go out. And eventually you hear outside just stop, plop. Brings back in. I have a little bit more. Before I do something, Severin, any ideas? Sweetening it and trying to make it stick together was seemingly too much. Any ingredients you would recommend in this case before I waste the last dose?
Uh, I guess I can roll my recovered intelligence occult now.
It's been 2 hours. You still have a -1.
Okay, whatever. That's fine.
So yeah, give me an intelligence occult in this case. Yeah, something that would assist in this case.
And difficulty?
Difficulty. Just call it 6.
I'll spend the willpower because this is important to me.
Understandable.
And I have creative as my intelligence.
Creative would apply. So that's 4 successes. Okay. You sort of a little bit like hazy coming out. So still, it's like, oh, what would go well with this now? And you actually start saying, well, you probably get the idea essentially of combining rather than using, purely just sweeteners and stuff like that to try and fix something, right? You get the idea of why not try and make it like a soup, but in a weird way, in the sense of rather than trying to magically ritualize it, try and make it more akin to mixing, some salt, some regular ingredients, some maybe aromatic herbs, something that might not feel sweet but might add as a sweetener if combined with other things, right? And
Yeah.
since it's also boiling, you think that maybe, I mean, soup boils, so is this right now. And usually you don't boil wine, so maybe making it in a different way might bring some benefits essentially. So you start recommending, hey, just put salt in there, not pepper though. Pepper seems like it might be too aggressive. Um, add add some fucking parsley, maybe some mint as well. Keep the honey. Um, go for this, and sort of culminate into something that could be made as a very weird, delicate luxury sort of food, essentially, or what is considered at this time. She sort of nods, says, "Well, I'm not the greatest cook in that regard, but I'll try." And she goes for it. She starts doing, and it's like, okay, so since you seem to know it just a little bit more, you tell me when I should approximately put stuff in, right? And you guide her through that. Put the wine, put something that would be equivalent to a broth first, right? The wine and the
Yeah.
blood, combining it, then adding a little bit of salt, then quickly after adding the aromatic herbs, chopped up, maybe something a little bit in there. Um, and then
Yeah.
adding in, the small little like sort of ingredients later on, adding in the honey and stirring that really well, sort of thickening it up essentially this time around. Um, even getting the recommendation of maybe fucking adding flour. just to sort of really thicken it up, and it might work since it is added sometimes, like in stews or something like that. You go for it. And eventually, though, as it sort of ends up and it's still sort of, boiling, and she starts putting the heat down, it's like, okay, time to now like sort of simmer it a little bit, right? All right. And maybe this time about an hour and a half passes. But eventually she scoops it up, right? There seems to be bits and parts still from the, what is it called? The herbs and the stuff. Like it's not like, dissolved into it. There seems to be it, but it seems to be liquid this time around. It doesn't seem to be chunky, blood clotty, jello-y, or any of the wrong stuff. Just seems to be nice and liquid. And she's like, pours it up, tries to go down to scoop a little bit, like from the ground up. Nothing seems to have like made it like a big mess. So far, so good. She pours it into a cup essentially
Yeah.
and hands it over. It's still hot, quite hot actually, since you said to make it like a food was going for much higher temperatures in this case. So just blow on it a little bit, and I don't think it'll kill you this time around or make you eat ash.
Yeah, so okay, I'll try it, but what does it taste like?
So you go for the sip. It's still hot, but nothing that you can't endure, right? And it's weird. It's not. You feel the hints of blood, the bits of alcohol, because the amount you had to add in, it didn't get vaporized essentially, right? So you still feel the little bit of alcoholness at the very end of your at the back of your throat. At the front, though, there's a culmination of a little bit of sweetness, um, but also a little bit of bitterness, but not in a good way. Bitter more in a ooh, that stings a little bit too hard. Did you ever eat peppercorns like accidentally on its own?
Yep.
Yeah, that sort of bitterness. It's not inedible, it's just unpleasant. And combined with the sweetness, it's this very weird hard it's almost like somebody punched you really hard and then caressed your face right after it. But
All right then.
it's not what you're looking for, probably, because I mean, you wouldn't want to drink this and enjoy a night rest, right?
Yeah, it's not the wine. It's not the thing that I'm looking for because I
Yeah.
want, fucking wine.
But it's definitely what you believe, progress in some form of way. The broth, if we want to say, is stable. It's just the taste is not good, and it doesn't look the best either. Because imagine having like a deep red sort of looking thing. I mean, yeah, it's like wine, but it has this sort of blackness almost to it, like in the behind, with like sprinkled with parsley leaves. Not the most aesthetically looking drink either, but it's progress. And she asked, "So you didn't retch up ash this time? I'm going to go on the assumption it's better."
Yeah, it is edible or drinkable, I guess, but it doesn't taste like wine should, and it has a very bitter peppery taste, aftertaste to it too. So like it's first it comes as a sweet, very sweet drink, and then the bitterness in it appears and like destroys everything and like makes you. It's a very disgusting taste afterwards. Yeah.
We didn't even add pepper to it. That's weird.
Yes, very.
But it didn't break and it didn't malform into something that is, well, not food, I suppose. So that's better. I don't want to take up more of your time and things. I'm going to be researching this, writing this down, going through notes, and seeing what we can improve upon. There might be there might be an ingredient that we're missing, or it could be something entirely different. I'm not quite sure what yet, but give me some time and I might figure something out. In the meantime, though, I believe it's been about 3 hours, 4. Um, he should be awakening soon after. This was more of a nap potion, or nap over, I suppose. So, can you deal with memories, or do you need something?
If
If
you
you need it.
can, it's probably better. Yeah.
All right. It should do the trick. Essentially, though this might be heavy on his body now that I think about it, it essentially makes you go into such a hangover state that you don't remember the night before or day before. I tested it out a little bit. 24 hours of being black drunk, except you don't end up being 24 hours sleep. You end up being about 2 hours asleep, just waking up feeling like utter trash. But that's the best I've got. So, I have this. Bring the flask back, please. When you bring him back, just give him a single, about this much essentially. He doesn't need more. Any more might become dangerous. So about that much, just enough for a gulp essentially. Pour down his throat. Let him a little bit ingest it, and well, he's gonna keep on sleeping. It's just more the fact that he won't remember.
All right.
In the meantime, I believe I remember that saying to you. You're going to be busy in a few nights. There's something occurring, yes?
Yes, a very big party
Hmm.
that I must attend.
So when will you be able to make your way over here again?
Uh, Probably in 2 weeks then. When is the party again? I don't remember.
Like 2 nights, and it might last for a bit. So you're not specific on
Yeah, a
the
few
details.
nights. Yeah, so in 1 or 2 weeks.
That should be enough ample time for me to go through this and tell you when the next phase or next part goes. So, I'm not sure how aware of you are about this, but I've been hearing news. I do leave this place sometimes and have a little bit of birdies that sort of tell me what's going on. It seems that besides your party, there seems to be something of a little bit of a something the mortals seem to be preparing as well, if that's the mortals.
The Mortals of Paris or somewhere else.
Yes. Um, well, I believe one of them overheard a merchant say some sort of festival of some sorts. Not
Yeah,
sure.
that's probably our fault.
Sounds about right. Might end up being, might end up coming to the city during the day. You see, when a lot of people culminate in one place, it ends up being a nice ground for shopping. Merchants and peddlers galore. There's going to be plenty of herbs. And I'd like
Uh,
that.
yeah, just be careful.
Oh,
You don't know who might be out then at night or
oh,
day.
no. Fair enough on that. But thank you for your consent, sir. But really, well, I have my methods. I should be
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
If you want, however, we could do a little bit of a switcheroo. Perhaps sometimes this week while the festival is going on, we could meet up somewhere and, well, somewhere a bit more luxurious and have good drinks, hopefully, and enjoy a little bit of a social, a bit of a crowd around us. If you'd
Is
like.
she asking me on a fucking date, Demi?
No.
What do you interpret?
Whatever.
Simple.
How busy am I gonna be anyways? Like, I've already done everything, but he wants me to fucking be there too because he's an asshole, the seneschal.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be
Here and there,
pretty
maybe.
busy. Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It's probably not. You're gonna have like an entire 8-hour workday in your 8-hour night, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're gonna have free time most likely. It's just you're gonna have some side jobs. So is what you can most likely presume.
All right,
Well then,
then you can make some time. I might be busy, but I should have some free time too, so that we can meet up.
perfect. Well, good luck. Ride well, and I'll see you late. I'll see you in a few nights then.
Yeah. See you. Hopefully, we will get even more progress than this. But this is a good step.
Entirely so. You have no idea how much writing I need to do, though, because if I don't, I'm going to forget about it, and if I forget about it, well, we've lost progress.
Yes. So I shall let you get to it then. Good luck, and thanks for your concern.
Quick thing, though.
Okay.
If you want a little bit of a prank, go behind my house, and you should see the slosh of gel of that horrible thing that was created. Use it as you see fit, if you want to.
So I can grab some poison jello.
You're not sure if it's poisonous, but it hell is good as well. It wasn't fucking nice. Wow. Wow, so rude.
Nah, I'll just leave the fucking jello be. I'm just gonna grab the drunk and like carry him back to the city and like put him on a street somewhere next close to the tavern, like a few streets down from the tavern I found him in, and he'll probably sort himself out after that.
Yeah, no problem. There's one thing that gets your attention though, as sort of you're putting him back. One of the people that you avoided before is also sort of happily sleeping about, essentially in a nearby alley.
I'll just put it next to him then. Perfect.
Perfect. And yeah, you go back, you try and give him just like a quick gulp, essentially, like just put it up and it's like close mouth, move cheeks, put down. Perfect. And yeah. So for the time being, because Chris is going to die, and Chris has work because he's an important man who works at Oracle and also will be helping me on the project. We're gonna end it there for the night.
Well, I'm not
Wow.
working at Oracle. I'm working on an Oracle system. Let me get it right, you fucking hopeless loser.
No. It's gonna sound cooler if I say you. It sounds cooler if I say you work at Oracle.
That's not true.
You know what also isn't true, Redimir? A lot of things.
You know, Demi is so shit at programming, he cannot even name
Shush.
his objects in a way that don't conflict with each other. And he can figure out which objects he named the same. So he needs
Yep.
my help.
Very much so. Very much so.
Jesus
SQ
Christ, Demi.
SQ is a bitch. So yeah, let's.
Go to
Allah.
sleep, bitch.
Allah Akbar de Hosaçkat. mogu pričati toliko, eto, doviđenja. Let's start in reverse
It's
order this
bedtime,
time.
Demi.
It's a bedtime. My mom just wants me to shut the fuck up because I've been talking for 4 hours.
We get the same feeling on occasion, Demi.
So let's go reverse order. Craft. What did you think of the session? How does your character feel
Feels pretty good.
overall?
Yeah, the session was pretty. I mean, fucking, I got better at this screen time, man. What the fuck?
Shush you.
Bullying. This is bullying. But my character
I
feels
blame you
good
for
at
the
least.
Dota games. The Dota games. I blame you on that one.
You owe me a battle pass, kid. Or you owe
Bitch.
yourself a battle pass.
And what's going through Severin's head, if anything, besides a bullet?
He's excited that we got another fucking step forward. He's been working on this for this is his dream, you know.
Hell yeah. Fair enough.
But now he needs to fucking go prepare some shit for his sire. Goddamn.
Yeah, sometimes work comes into play, stops your passions and progress forward. Jablana, how does your funny bone feel today?
I mean, I feel like it was like worth like Jablana feels like it was worth testing this out. But as expected, there was like it was just a bunch of garbage as it seems. But out of character, I was actually a bit surprised when you gave me a description that where it's okay, and then afterwards it was like it hurt a lot.
I see, as the generous god as I am and a good storyteller, I am a man who deals with consequences. You wanted to put it where it went.
Listen, I would have changed my approach depending on like the knowledge, and you can't say that I have 4 matters and I couldn't tell that this hurt her.
You know how it was, Redover? It's like, it's not so bad, it's a little pressure, and then there's give, and it just slides in, and you see the aura wrapped in pain and horror.
Oh my god, God bless. Second that we finished was technically Christ. So Christ, how did you feel about the session? What is Donald thinking?
I bring a message from the Twitch chat. They say that they are disappointed with 40 minutes of shitty descriptions of fake food.
See, I'd take that as truth if it wasn't said by this being has no name.
True. Okay, so, out of character, well, that went really fucking well. Fuck the gangrel dog boys. And Domhnall, the Viking fuckboy, salty loser. But he could respect him a little. That being said, Domhnall won, and he has a new code to show for it, so
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that was a tough battle. And, well, in terms of trial and judgment, you were not in the wrong. They were clearly in the wrong. They had to fucking put the law down.
Ishmael would have been so fucked. He would have lied for sure on something.
Oh, yeah. I had that prepped, and I'm like, okay, sure, let's go with the testimonies. Yeah, this all looks good, but wait a second, where's the magic and where's the thing? Let's bring in this Arabian guy as Clap, and Yaxi.
Yes.
What's up?
The ceiling.
Please don't. I have a friend who does that every time. So on a scale of 9 to 10, with 9 being pretty fucking good and 10 being awesome, how do you rate this session?
Pretty good
No,
overall.
Pretty good.
Solid 8.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty successful, I think.
What's going through Defagnon's mind?
At first, I struggled to understand the Queen's message about that we should be on our best behavior, but now I think I get it.
I love it. Okay then, guys. Any final thoughts? Any final words? Any backlash against Chris and his upcoming Rogue Trader game?
Well, that took a sudden turn.
There doesn't have to be a boss.
Oh no, not for Rogue Trader. That's just a random enemy that you will relatively easily defeat, I expect. Unless certain plans with Nyaxi pay off.
We're going to trial. We're not fighting greater demons in Dark
That's
Heresy.
not Rogue Trader, that's Dark Heresy. Dark Heresy, there is gonna be a boss eventually, because there has to be.
I mean, yeah, no shit. That has to be a culmination. Okay. Well then, guys. To finish up early, everybody gets a willpower back automatically for any session. Any natures got anybody?
I think mine would apply, but I don't really need it.
What, you're at full willpower?
Yeah, I
Gallant.
didn't spend any this session.
Gallant. I'd say that while you did win in things, I
did rub it in at the end as well.
you did rub it in. The thing is, though, I don't think the rest of the sort of crew wasn't sort of, there. You were center of
trying
attraction.
to impress them. I was trying to flex on the Gangrel Dog Boys. They were the target, Debbie.
Close. But anyways, since you
Yeah.
don't need it, Craft, any nature?
Nope.
Yaxi?
I don't think so. Probably not.
And Redo?
I think I did. I'm a celebrant. I definitely pursued.
Oh yeah, you definitely did. I get a willpower back. Also in terms of the one-step blood bond, you definitely did. You did get the one blood bond out as she essentially sort of just took a quick drink, felt that it was sweet and nice essentially, sort of thinking that it might be this like luxurious wine probably, and then just hoofed it. In terms of experience, everybody gets 3 XP. And does anybody want to buy anything if they have XP to spend?
Have I
Yes.
had enough interaction with the city's political apparatus to justify taking politics 1? If I chose to go that way.
Politics 1, you've been doing that? I'm going to say not fully yet, but quite close. This is this whole charade here, essentially, of what just happened is a pretty good pusher to see how some of the uppers act and whatnot and stuff like that. But I did definitely say that probably next session after interacting with on the party and stuff, that I think you'd be able to pick it up properly.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right then. If nobody's saying anything, we're gonna finish it then. Prep that button for ending. But for the first time, does anybody have a sponsor?
Nope.
Perfect.
But
Perfect.
What about appearance 3, Demi?
I'd say that's viable because you've been presenting yourself in a way. Because appearance isn't just how you look, but definitely in confidence things. So I'd say yes, you would. I think you're able to that you're upping your appearance in a smugness / your specific way. The ginger that fought back.
Yeah, I need to improve my style if I'm gonna function at court, so I'm gonna take that up to 3.
Go for it. All right then. I don't think I forgot anything. So let's say our goodbyes in a 1950s way. You say goodbye, Chris. I'll say goodbye. Kraft says goodbye. It goes one by one.
Goodbye.
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 Hold
You know,
on.
just fuck off.
Yes. Best ending.